Yeah, and you got to mention Bron like the greatest ever, so that helps a lot.
Oh my gosh, no, he did.
The great.
Get him, Dre.
Excuse me.
Look, I'm 50-50 on the combo.
Hold on. Real quick. Hey, just out of curiosity, what's LeBron's record in the NBA Finals?
Look, he been there 10 times. He been there. I don't care if he
So
lost.
was Magic, nigga.
But look, the thing about that,
like top 5, top 6.
but the thing about that narrative is, like, why do we glorify LeBron for losing in the finals, and then we don't talk about like Michael Jordan like losing in the first rounds all that time? Like
oh god,
but you don't understand like why are we like this so?
Because that nigga had a team full of crackheads at the time.
Like why was this so big?
All right, what up? Welcome to the All Grind Sports Show, where we are politically incorrect. I go by the name of JC, and as y'all can see, we got some brand new special guests, man, that we got to introduce. But first, I just want to thank y'all for showing love the way y'all have been and getting us through this NBA season, getting us through that last NFL season. I think that was our second playoff run for both. So thank y'all for tuning in, like, sharing, comment, subscribing, man. Let's take it to the furthest extent. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all here with us, and we appreciate that. So without further ado, man, we got my guy from the So Icy gang, tatted like a biker gang. My guy Andre, the sports junkie, is back. Welcome back, sir. I'm sure everybody's glad to see you in good health, man.
Yep, I'm happy to be back, and let's get into it.
And then we got two of the greatest, most incredible sports minds I know that graced us with their presence today. So thank y'all, man. First, we'll go with my guy, J. Will Sports. What's going on, man?
What's good? Nothing much. Just ready to talk about some sports. See how these conversations go. Just see what y'all talking about, what y'all believe in.
Can you give the people a quick rundown, man? What's the home squads for you, man? What's the team?
So if we're talking college wise, I'm anything, everything Ole Miss. I'm an Ole Miss student, so Ole Miss football, basketball, baseball, you name it, I'm Ole Miss. Wise, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan who's been living in poverty for about the last decade or so. So
yeah, I was about to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, NFL wise, I'm a Colts fan who's been living in poverty since Andrew Luck retired. So get us well.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, I got a couple questions for you before we get off. We got a couple seconds just for you right there.
Of course. And then just to round it all up, I'm a baseball fan, so I'm a Cardinals fan, which we all know kind of how that's going.
You got any blogs you do? Anything that people can check out?
Not right now, but if you're interested in just like the sports content in general, just follow me on Twitter at JWillSports, and that's just the best way you can reach out to me if you want to talk or just have a simple sports conversation.
All right. And then we got my guy who I've been knowing for a cool minute, man, from that sports chat I always be talking to y'all about. My boy KO.
Sir, appreciate you for having me on.
That's a bet, man. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for a minute, man. We finally got my guy on, man. I already know, but go ahead and tell the folks, man, what the squad is, man. I'm sorry for you too, but go ahead.
Nah, for sure. NBA. Look, I'm a Suns fan. No, I'm not no bandwagon. Been a fan of this team for a minute. Everyone know that.
I can attest to that, unfortunately.
Right, unfortunately. College-wise, look, I'm just a Kentucky basketball fan for real. Just like I don't really mess with the football team for real, none of that. College football wise, I follow Ohio State.
So what was all them Cardinals bets and spit? What was that then?
Football for the Cardinals? I was like a fan for a year. I'll be bandwagoning the NFL team, but I can't. Okay. I'll admit that. I just be bandwagoning. I don't got no real team. I'm mostly just like
you thought that Murray spit was for real, right?
Nah, man. He my guy, but nah. But yeah, NBA, college basketball mostly. I dibble and dabble with like, football, college football, MLB, soccer. I'm trying to get into more of that stuff, but yeah, for sure.
Well, as y'all know, for me, I'm LA everything except the Clippers. So we got Lakers, Rams, Bruins. What else we got? Kings. I even root for the Sparks when they up in there. LA everything. But yeah, without further ado, man, let's get right into it, man. We got the official 25-game suspension for Ja Morant. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we only talked about this once on the show. The second time he did it, I was so over Ja. I didn't even bring the split up. I didn't even care. I was like, this nigga's a bozo. Like, you just don't get it. And I felt like it wasn't nothing to talk about. And it was starting to get a little gossipy. But now that they've officially handed down their punishment, and now we got, surprisingly, the Players Association is feeling like, you know, it might be a bit too much. I don't know if you guys seen that yet. But I'm gonna just ask y'all straight up, man. Even though I'm sure from the looks on y'all faces, I'm sure y'all agree with me that he's a bozo. But was the 25 game suspension fair?
To be honest, was it fair? I think it was fair, but I feel like he dodged another bullet in terms of it could have been 30 games. It could have been more because this is the second time he's been caught.
Within like a few months.
Time, yeah, the first time it was only 8 games, so I feel like he got lucky with that one. So this one it was 25. I mean, it's still a lot, but this third strike it could be more if he does it again. But I hope he's learned his lesson because he's too good to be flaunting like that.
You think so do you think the Players Association, they have no chance of getting this reduced or knocked off in no type of way?
I don't think so.
I kind of have to disagree there. I think the Players Association, they have a big voice when it comes to just like basketball in general. I think it'll take some work, but I definitely do think they could like try to like knock some games off of that. But in my opinion, 25 games is like the perfect like suspension for him. I feel like it's not too harsh because the second time when it happened, we saw Adam Silver on TV. Like he just looked utterly like disappointed in Ja. Like I'm sitting here thinking, oh, this could be like really, really bad. You know, this half the season, like after the All-Star break, you know, something like that. So if I'm Ja, I'm just lucky it's 25 games. But at the same time, like you really have to kind of like watch what you're doing, watch who you're doing it around, because I feel like one more slip up and it could just be like, you know, the ultimatum, worst possible case scenario could happen to him. So I really hope he's at least learned his lesson, or like, you know, just do better, you know, as a basketball player, like, you know, just know that everybody's watching your every move, you know.
Well, real quick though, I mean, I know it sounds like just 25 games, but here's why 25 games is probably real significant in this instance. Y'all got to remember what just happened with that bargaining agreement. How many games can you miss now to where you won't be eligible for those end of season awards where you can get the Supermax and all that spit, which Ja is clearly deserving of? That 17 game number was the one to watch. And I think that's probably why, even though it's like, well, it's just 25 games, I think that's what I think that's what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
to take him out of that.
Jay Will, my fault. Back to what Jay Will was saying, like how Adam Silver was talking, I thought he was going to be like gone for like 50, 60.
Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna count. I seen that too.
Like, so I was surprised when I heard 25.
He looked like a disappointed father. Like,
right. Yeah, I was surprised when I heard 25. But then I kind of understood it because it was like, you know, like you just mentioned with the new agreement, the bargaining agreement, you miss 17, you like automatically out for all them awards. So I think that's what it really came down to.
Which he clearly would be eligible for.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, right, with the agreement and stuff, the 25, it makes sense to me. And I think like they probably figured out some new stuff about what happened. Like you said, Ja
I'm sure
it was like a toy gun and all of that. So I definitely think the 25 was perfect.
So I mean, even though it's a different sport, we seen with the Deshaun thing, that seemed like they could have technically, you know, dropped the hammer on him, even though his situation was probably more speculative than we see it, you know what I'm saying, on video. But even with them, they were able to get his spit knocked down for what they were trying to do. So I mean, with that being said, y'all think that can play any type of significant role? Or
I mean, not really, because I feel like since that's like a totally different sports, you know, the rules are a little different in the NFL compared to the NBA. I don't think we'll like anything like that, like speculation compared to what we actually saw on video, and just about like the number of games they play in the NFL compared to the NBA. I just think it's too many variables that are just different in that. So I don't think it really.
Because to be real, I mean, you could argue 12 games is way more than 25 for, you know, NBA wise.
Yeah,
that's damn near the whole season.
Yeah, 12, like by like week 13, the season almost over. You know who's going to playoff. You know who's fighting, who's not. You know, so I mean, like that's basically like, you know, might as well.
He basically just got to get the cobwebs off. That was it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it got a little sticky when he started saying like he wants to, you know, look towards like the future of people possibly doing it and look at the past. And when he said the past, clearly there was one name that came to mind, and that was Gilbert Arenas. So I think maybe in his mind he's kind of, you know what I'm saying, going back to like, okay, like nigga, we're not doing this again. We took like 13, 14, 15 years cleaning that up, and here you go. You know what I'm saying? And it was already stories coming out, you know, prior to that. I did think he was going to drop the hammer on him harder than that, but I think the Players Association coming back at them is probably, I don't know. I think it's a little tricky because they haven't technically signed that bargaining agreement yet. So who's to say they don't, you know, say, okay, let's have a conversation again since this is, you know what I'm saying, what y'all doing, because it's obviously clear that Silver was like, nigga, we want you, because I think he's projected to lose upward of 50 million based on this move, because he missed it last year and more than likely he's gonna miss it this year. And clearly that's ridiculous when you got a, you know, top 5 point guard in the league, and you know he's not gonna be, you know, as paid as most of them are. So
yeah, I kind of just feel like if I don't agree with the Players Association. I feel like the main reason why like Ja kind of like dodged the bullet is because like, you know, these are the only like incidents he's got going around. You know what I mean? Like he's
right.
Social media. He has a case with a 17-year-old allegedly. Of course, you know, I can't say he did it.
Of course.
I think he also has like a separate incident, like where he went to like a Nike store or something like that, and like cash.
Yeah, and these were all coming out like back to back.
Like, it's just so
like,
much going on.
Like,
it's just so much going on. That's why I thought he was really going to drop the hammer, because like, yeah, 25 games. I was like, yeah, Ja. I think technically, like, I was like the worst outcome. Like, he definitely caught a break because like he has too much stuff kind of going around with his name for him to like, you know.
So then, devil's advocate, what about the argument people have of like, well, technically he didn't do nothing illegal either time?
The way I look at that personally, I feel like, of course, he didn't break a law. Of course, I think we all know he didn't break a law. But at the same time, when you have like younger people watching, and a player like Ja Morant, he's probably one of the most marketable stars right now when it comes to like, you know, the big.
He was supposed to be like becoming the face of the NBA, basically.
Yeah, and the NBA, of course, does want to like, you know, have somebody want to be the face of the NBA who's doing all this bad stuff and has all these like titles on their name. Like, look at a player like LeBron, for example. LeBron doesn't really have like a bad rep at all when it comes to like his 20-year career. Like, he doesn't like an incident that kind of just like demolished his entire character. And I feel like the NBA kind of wants to keep it that way. And like a person like Ja, who's like keeps getting into like different events, like it's just really offsetting for somebody like Adam Silver to kind of deal with.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I just feel like if people feel like, well, he didn't break a law, I don't think that really matters compared to when these NBA players sign their contracts. There's things that come up like you can't do this on social media, you can't do this when you're out. Like they just have it different compared to like the normal person. Like
it ain't like he going to jail.
Right. Yeah, he's not going to jail or nothing, but it's like he's under the NBA and they have set rules and all of that. He signed his contract, which they say like you can't be doing this, you can't do that. It's violation. So I don't really get the whole thing about that, about he didn't do anything illegal.
Because really, I think where there might be going is like if, you know, like if if Luka had a picture standing over a deer with a shotgun in his hand, does he have a 25-game suspension?
I mean, no.
Maybe that's an angle.
But it's like, I feel like in that sense, though, like context matters. Like, you know, if Luka was to do that, you would know, like, you would think first thing that pop up, like, oh, he just hunting or something.
Right,
like,
right.
He's having a good time. You could say Ja was having a good time too, but it's like, it's different with Ja. Like, you know.
No, you trying to be NBA dumb boy. That's what you want.
This isn't the first instance for Ja. That's the thing. Like, that's the biggest thing, really. Like, he's done this multiple times.
So last thing on this, what do y'all feel like, just, you know, speculating, what do y'all feel like the Players Association takes issue with here?
I just think it's the suspension itself, like the 25 games. I feel like they probably don't think he deserves the whole 25. And like I said, like more stuff is coming out, more details in the investigation, like the toy gun, was it a toy gun or not, and stuff like that. So I just think as more details get to Adam Silver and all of that, maybe they can lower it to maybe like 15-10. But I just think That's what it is, really.
Yeah,
And
I
if
think
they do
like
that,
what
that'll just. Oh my bad. Go ahead.
I think right off of what KO said, he said, it's basically, until more evidence unfolds, that's going to determine whether things increase or decrease. So I think piggybacking off of what he said, I think that's very true.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. If they do cut it down to like 10 or 15, it'll be on something like, man, we ain't got time to be dealing with this shit. Just give me 15 games, get the F up out of here.
But if he do this shit again,
if he did it again, do we think like he might lose his Nike on partnership?
Yeah.
That was talked about too.
Ain't no might about it.
that's a for sure thing.
He was on thin ice the first time.
I mean, that is true. It's just like he's the young star in the NBA, so how far can they push it? How far can he push his limits really to the point where Adam Silver just like, okay, yeah,
he's right there at it. Like I feel like he can't slip up like anymore. Like in this upcoming season, like I feel like one even like minor thing, he may just be like that Nike deal is like the toughest break for him. If he loses that, that's a lot of money to lose right there. So
yeah, they make more bread off of that than they NBA contracts, and especially his right now because I don't even think has he gotten paid yet.
I'm not sure, but like I just know his is like crazy. He's getting paid a crazy amount.
Yeah,
if his contract hasn't kicked in yet, I know it definitely is soon.
Yeah. And one last thing on that too, like people talking so much about like, oh, would a friend put the video? It's like for you to know you're on Instagram Live and decide to do that again. I'm starting to think of you mentally all the way there, brother. Like, yeah, I really don't. I don't know. Maybe he just really don't understand what's in front of him, and that's kind of like the disturbing part about it. Like, it's people that'll give their arms, legs, and feet kill to be in your position, and you just about to squander off. Like, Kwame Brown might have been a little explicit with his delivery, but I get the basis of what he was saying. Like, yeah, I don't want y'all $300 million. I'm good, y'all.
Yeah, I feel mainly because he kind of grew up in like a small area. I think it was like South Carolina. Then went to go into like a little small school at Murray State, where he doesn't have like a lot of national attention on him at that time period. Like when he first got there until like maybe like March Madness, and that's when they started kind of like getting.
That's when I heard about him.
Like his like real, I feel like first taste of getting like national attention. And like I feel like maybe he's just not accustomed to it yet, which you would think he was because it's like his like what fifth season coming up now.
Right.
I kind of hope he kind of like clears that up a little bit because like you can't what you did at Murray State and like high school, you can't kind of clear that up in the NBA, big or small things.
And it's like at this point, nobody cares about what you say. Like there's nothing you could say to make anybody look at you differently. It's all like action based at this point. So
I just think it's a wake up call about who he has in his circle. Really, like he just has to change that.
The thing is, how many wake-up calls is he going to need? Because, like, I thought the first time was the wake-up call, and then it happened again. So,
at the same time, it's like, when you the breadwinner in your circle, it's a matter of like, because I was just recently watching an interview on Mike Vick where he was talking about when he was at that age, he even whether he would have listened to him or not, when he had the things that he had going on, he kind of made like the people in his circle felt like, man, if I say something, he might not, stop messing with me. And Vic is pretty much all they probably pretty much have as far as like, what I'm saying? They look of success at that time, or they ticket of a way out type shit. And he was talking about how like, thinking back to it, he was like, man, they might have been right. Like I might have had that type of energy where you say something to me or go too hard on what I shouldn't be doing or what I should be doing, you might get, annulled from my circle. So, I mean, who's to say that that's not what Ja's on right now? Because, I mean, he is practically still a kid. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he like closer probably to y'all age than mine.
Yeah, he's still in his mid-20s.
Yeah, so, yeah, hopefully, because outside of all of this shit that we talking about, Ja is 100% one of my favorite players to watch, and I definitely want to see him reach his pinnacle by all means, man. Like I really feel like he can be a dangerous guy, but he got to get that mental right before that even becomes a conversation. All right. So now that we got that out the way, man, we can talk about the Blockbuster deal, man. We have a very happy camper in here. It wasn't no way I was going to do a show and not have a representation of what just transpired, man. We got Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns.
Man, look, when this trade first happened, when it was rumored that it was us and then the Heat were like the big contenders for him. And when I seen that, I was surprised because I didn't think we had any chance for him. But then as you look at his contract situation,
I mean, you basing that like on your roster and
yeah, like our roster, right? Like the value of our players and trades. But as you look at Bill's contract, he has a no trade clause. He's making $50 million a year. It's like, well, he has all the leverage really. So the Wizards were really in a tough spot, and I think the Suns took advantage of that and seeing that, like, hey, if we can throw in CP and Shamit, we can match salaries in a way. And if that's all we got to give up for him, then, and if that's where he want to go, then it'll work out.
And not to cut you off, but I remember at the time when that trade happened, we were all shocked on the show that he was able to pull off a no trade clause. Because it's a majority of superstars, if I'm not mistaken, like have never really gotten that. Like that's like LeBron level type spit, and I'm not even 100% sure if he got that right now.
Bradley Beal's the only one who has a no trade clause in the NBA as of today. So
yeah, that was. I'm like, who the hell is Bradley Beal supposed to be? But I don't know what the Wizards mentality was. I don't know what he may have told them. I knew he wasn't staying. I figured like he was just trying to get that check, and then I'll request a trade later, so I still get my money without having to take an immediate pay cut. So.
At the same time, though, like if I'm like the Wizards, to me, like the worst franchise in the league when it just comes to like decisions, because like I'm not even paying Bradley Beal that money. Because first off, what has Bradley Beal done for my team in regards to as just winning in general for me to pay him that money? You know what I mean?
Right.
Those like you've been here for a while, you've been a good player. Here we're just gonna give you this money and leave it at that. But like when you look at the franchise of this future, like you really don't know what direction it's gonna go because you still have Porzingis right there, who's a good player, but like. We don't know how long he's going to stay at the Wizards because it looked like they're just going to like break it all down and start rebuilding however long that's going to take. So they just kind of
and they should have did that down there 10 years ago. I've been calling for them to blow that up.
They should have started when they picked basically Bradley Beal over John Wall to me because I feel like that's what they did in the end.
But I thought they was just going to just break it up in general though. Like this one ain't going to work with neither one of these niggas.
It wasn't even like they didn't have like they weren't working. It just felt like they want to put help around them. Like like people like Morgan Gortat, I don't even know if I pronounced it.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Man,
like,
I remember that era.
yeah, like it's just kind of sad, but it's still, like what you expect.
And I mean, you also got to look at it too, like first and foremost, before we get into this, hey Dame, I hope you're taking notes.
That boy's staying in Portland.
No, he needs to go. But no, I think he's with Bradley Beal going to Phoenix, man. That's gonna be a huge. I feel like an upgrade to their offense and defense in a way. Because when they were in Washington, like you guys said, they really had no one around them. They had a bunch of, like you said, Gortat. Like, where is he now? Like, if they would have just built around him, I feel like we could be having a different conversation. But because they just said, you two take the ball.
Who the hell wants to go to Washington?
Right.
I get that too, but
sometimes I feel like we'd be a little too hard on the front office based on where they're at.
I feel like they always get rid of their young talent. Like they got rid of Hachimura, they got rid of Kelly Oubre, who was really young. And I feel like he was like at least somewhat promising of a role player. I mean, just seems
but that good role player era, that's been kind of over with. You need at least two guys now, at least.
Yeah, they had two guys, and they just didn't want to do anything with them. So,
that goes to me. I was on the Wall overrated train back then, so maybe that that was my take on that. I felt like he wasn't going to be the best player on no championship team anyway. So even at his peak.
Yeah, like the Wizards, I feel like, when John Wall got injured, they was put in a tough spot. He couldn't stay healthy, really. They really just had to trade him. And then, like you said, no one wants to come to Washington. So it's like, how much can you really do as a front office? Like, you trying to pay these big free agents to come here, and they're just like, they prefer somewhere else, no matter how much.
Clearly, Wall and Bill aren't appealing enough to bring somebody over there.
Right, exactly.
Like KD is from there, and that nigga didn't want to go there.
I remember those.
I just think the biggest W for like the Suns in this regards is that we still have DeAndre Ayton, and we can.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing to me. I know how people feel about Ayton, including myself, but I think it's a good thing we still have him because we can still use leverage with him and make another trade to get more depth. Because I know,
Bro,
like,
y'all been trying to trade that man, what, the last 2-3 years now?
Yeah, it's just I feel like this will probably be like finally the summer we do actually though, because like new ownership and everything like that. I'm really happy about the ownership and like the direction they're taking. Like they're really like want to win and like they're making win now moves. Like with KD.
So what type of guy are you realistically thinking for Ayton?
I mean,
no first round picks.
I would say go back to what they were initially thinking in the middle of the season with Miles Turner, calling up the Pacers for Miles Turner, a player of that caliber. Really, that's the best player I can think of for Ayton and his value right now. Either him, I've heard like Clint Capella, so just somewhere.
What about the point guard position? You don't feel like y'all need that, or you just gonna let Booker run point all year?
I'm fully on the Booker point guard train. I think he can run the point, especially with the roster that's around him. With KD and Bill, the type of players he has, I feel like Book could really excel at the point guard.
But do you think mentally he has it in him to run point for a whole season?
Yeah. For a whole season, yes, I do.
Because I really don't look at him as like a James Harden type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not like naturally a point guard or anything, or like I don't see him being a Harden myself, but I can see him playing the position well enough to be. He's not going to be a top point guard. I don't think like.
Because I personally would try to go get like even if it's like some, it don't got to be no great PG, but even if it's just like quick little Reggie Jackson or, somebody of that caliber level and just move KD down to the floor.
I think that's true. I think even if we did get like a point guard, like you said, like a Reggie Jackson or something like that, I would still view him as a six man. I think Book should just start at point guard. And then, because it's not like Book is just going to have like the full responsibility. Like he's not going to play like the CP3 role. I think it'll be like Book, Bill, and KD bringing the ball up the court, initiating an offense. So I don't think all the attention will be on Book.
I think y'all starting five makes me appreciate LeBron more because here y'all are with a starting five like that. And I'm like, damn, y'all ain't got no point guard in there. But if you switch like LeBron for KD, it's like, okay, y'all got somebody to orchestrate the offense and run that spit. But right now, as great as I think KD is, I just don't feel like y'all have that.
Yeah, and you got to mention Bron like the greatest ever, so that helps a lot.
Oh my gosh, no, he didn't.
He the greatest ever. Come on now.
Oh, he didn't.
What? Bron is the greatest ever. The greatest.
Get him, Dre.
Excuse me.
Look, I'm 50-50 on the combo.
Hold on. Real quick. Hey, just out of curiosity, what's LeBron's record in the NBA Finals?
Look, he been there 10 times. He been there. I don't care if he
lost. So was Magic, nigga.
But look, the thing about that,
top 5, top 6.
But the thing about that narrative is, like, why do we glorify LeBron for losing in the finals, and then we don't talk about like Michael Jordan like losing in the first rounds all that time? Like,
oh god, but you don't
understand like why are we like just so?
Because that nigga had a team full of crackheads at the time. That's
like why we just so big on LeBron for losing?
He had a team full of crackheads, and it's like, what was he supposed to do with that?
I'm not saying it's delivering. I just think the 4-6 argument has always just been a bad argument in my mind.
It is because like it helps. I feel like it helps LeBron in a way because like he's been to the finals 10 times. Like only so many players can say that. Like not even a handful of players can say they've been to the finals 10 times.
Here's my problem here. When we start talking about finals though, like
did you know how long
other great players, their bad finals performances, y'all put them to the forefront. LeBron has bad finals performances. We act like them Spurs don't exist.
No,
we act like 07 don't exist. We act like 2011 don't exist.
They exist for sure. I feel like
we act like when he shot what was that, like 30-something%? I forgot which one of them Warriors years. Like all of them gets pushed to the side, but when it's somebody else, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he went 5 for 24.
But then like who was somebody else?
Then when you look at it too, when he had his third ring. I feel like in a way too, but it took him. I feel like he choked along the way before he got that fourth ring. Granted, I'm not, trying to take away he didn't have players because fucking J.R. Smith made some boneheaded moves. But regardless, I'm just saying he's been to the finals 10 times. That's great, but I feel like he's lost more than he's been able to win.
I mean,
and I feel like
he was running, and you gotta think about it. He stacked his team. He stacked the deck for like 7-8 years straight in the East. Who the hell was supposed to beat that? He always had at least 3 guys.
I mean, because I guess players wanted to play with LeBron. I don't see how that's his fault. I feel like that helps him even more. Like, if D Wade and Chris Bosh said, like, yeah, we want to play with LeBron, like, why would he not?
I feel like so you're telling me you replaced KD on all them 7-8 teams, and he not going to the finals with those in the East at that time? There was no Giannis and Embiid. It wasn't none of that spit yet. Not as we know today.
It depends on who. Of course, it depends on who he has around him, though. Like, I can't just say you put KD on a team, that team goes to the finals. Like, it don't work that way. Like,
KD, Kyrie, and 26 and 12 love, and then KD, Wade, and Bosh.
And I feel like he should make it at that time period. Yes.
So that's why I kind of like. I'm not trashing him for making it. However many times, but I mean, it's like that do take a little bit away from that.
I would think about it.
But Jay Will, who's your GOAT?
See, I'm 50-50. Like, I have MJ as my GOAT, but like LeBron is like right there. Like, to me, if LeBron somehow, which I doubt it, wins another ring, then it's like, yeah, I may have to put LeBron as my GOAT. But I 100% don't see LeBron winning another ring in his career.
Like, yeah, because you jumped out the window, and I'm like, if I remember correctly, he ain't on that side. So
no,
I feel like even if LeBron wins another ring, I don't feel like it changes much. That's why if you have LeBron as your GOAT now, it just makes more sense compared to like if you have MJ as your GOAT now, it's probably gonna stay like that no matter what.
Yeah, like MJ's my GOAT, but I just feel like
I mean, I disagree with that because I mean most of these NBA players who grew up, who they have as their GOAT.
But that's because it's LeBron, but that's because that's who they grew up watching. That's who they first knew.
You know what I think just happened?
Kobe as they go.
I think somehow we might have just witnessed Michael Jordan becoming underrated. And y'all hold on. Let me explain that. Hold tight. Let me explain that. MJ was always kind of hated on by what y'all would call old heads. I know right now y'all look at me as the old head. I'm talking the old head. They never respected Mike like that. They had Wilt and Bill and Bream, like them was them niggas GOATs. And then even the 80s, they, you know what I'm saying? Mike, they was beating the spit out of Mike. So they don't have that niggas no effing GOAT at that time. You know what I'm saying? So you got that era. They still like you just said, how you feel Jordan fans are with Brian. That's how they are with they GOATs, with Bill Russell and all them. They feel like nobody can surpass what they did and the era was better and you know what I'm saying? You didn't get fouls for breathing on. That's their thing. And then you got y'all era now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I mean, I know y'all got the YouTube videos and all that shit, but somehow a lot of the things with MJ's era has gotten taken out of context and all type of shit. And now it's like with the younger generation, this nigga ain't the GOAT. So it's like, it's really only in the middle, really, which I guess would be like kind of my era, like the 90s baby era. And we didn't even really get to see Jordan. We just going off of, you know what I'm saying, what we'd seen, witnessed, looking at the numbers, accomplishments, and accolades, it just made sense. But I just felt like because he got 2 different generations that hate on him now, he might have, gotten knocked down a little bit.
I don't like to use the word hate because I feel like LeBron's probably like one of the most hated athletes of all time, in my opinion. As much as he's loved, like I feel like he's hated twice as more. Like I feel like if you talk to anybody about LeBron, you either love him or you hate him. And I'm kind of neutral on him for the most part. Mm-hmm. But like MJ is my GOAT. I think MJ will be the GOAT whenever you ask me that question. But do you think like there's like a big gap between it, or do you think it's the gap is like smaller than you think it is? Like how do you feel about that debate?
I'm not gonna say it's a big gap, but I don't think it's as much of an argument as people make it seem like it is. I got Brian as probably second. It's like him or Kareem. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got him like right there. I'm not like this nigga Dre who got him like way down there. But
how much is way down? How much is way down there? How low?
He's not even on my list.
That's crazy.
You'll be in my top 2,000.
So what would I be considered neutral, or because it seemed like if you don't got Bron as the GOAT with the younger generation, it's like you hating on them.
I mean, as far as I see you, I think you're neutral because I don't just see you just like sitting over here like just bashing LeBron every day. That's like some other people do. So
I've had my moments. Don't get me wrong. I definitely have had my moments.
I bash them both. I just like to see like.
But again, Bron ain't exempt. It's a bunch of players you probably go on my page and see I didn't bash. So these niggas, the ones that's on the show all the time, they say I hate everybody. So
I don't think you a hater. I don't think that makes you a hater.
You don't think I hate who?
I don't think that makes you a hater.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just I don't think it's much of an argument that people make it seem. You know what I feel like started the LeBron is the GOAT train, and this is my first time revealing this on the show. I think Nick Wrong started that split. I never heard nobody with their chest, and if y'all can find it, send it to me. But I've never seen nobody with their chest get on national TV and call Bron the GOAT before he did. And I feel like he gave everybody the confidence to start calling him the GOAT after he said it. Like I said, if y'all can find a clip, show me. But I don't remember nobody saying that split with their full chest before he did. And I think it just ended up taking a life of its own after that.
I mean, I think that's the case, though, because I think when Nick Wright was starting to say it, I think there was starting to be a case for it. I don't think nobody said it before Nick Wright said it because it was like, it wasn't really much of a case or a debate. I think when Nick Wright started saying it, it may have been like, 2018? Maybe a little earlier than that. And I feel maybe earlier than that for sure.
20. When did they play the Pacers in the playoffs? The not Paul George, the Depot Pacers.
That was 2017, 2018.
That's when he said it. That's when he said it.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the exact episode and everything.
And like that's like a year or a couple years removed from his run in 2016, where I feel like that's when it may have been starting to become a debate that like, okay, we may have like MJ may have finally had that competition at one.
And that's what Bron tried to say he feels makes him the GOAT was that. I feel like he was more talked into being the GOAT rather than doing what needed to be done. Yes, the longevity numbers and all that spit is definitely there. You can put Bron's numbers next to damn near anybody, and it's there. But I feel like with MJ, you never really heard him say I'm the GOAT. Like he gave you them cold 13 years. I don't count that Wizards bullshit when he came back to be an owner. He gave you, you know what I'm saying, that them cold 13 years where right there, he was considered a GOAT. Like, after, if he would have walked away. And then the way he would have walked away with a game winner for 45 after getting a stop, like, you know what I'm saying? And then you, like I said, you can go down the accolades with the 10 scoring titles and all that. It's just going off of all of that. I feel like it's an easy argument. But I feel like you more so got to break MJ down to make Bron the GOAT rather than having to break Bron down to make him the GOAT. Because I can acknowledge everything that Bron has done without fully going in and, still give that case for both of them.
But I feel like the biggest debate on it is because since LeBron, his finals record, I feel like that's a way of breaking them down, really. Because
I didn't bring up the finals record.
I mean, you don't, but I'm saying like in general though, like outside of the finals record thing though, like what more has LeBron needed to prove really? And it's my question, like to the MJ fans who make.
Can I ask you something though? Because you got Bron as a GOAT, so you seem like kind of a Bron guy. I haven't seen it in the chat, but right now you kind of seem like that.
Neither have I.
Why do Bron fans 1000% act like 2007 doesn't even exist?
I want to say they want to act like it doesn't exist because we know 2007 and 2007. I wouldn't say that we wouldn't say it doesn't exist. I feel like LeBron has proven so much to the point where it's like, okay, like he has made up for 2007 and 2011. It's always going to be there, of course, because like we say, he's 4-6 in the finals. 2 of those were those losses.
Like,
right?
For example, like Jay Will was quick to bring up, all the first round L's and spit. And it's like, okay, but he was making the first round. If I'm not mistaken, Bron didn't even make playoffs his first couple of years. So it's like, that's I feel like that's fair that a player like if you don't make if you having struggles with and you were a top pick in your first 6-7 years, I mean, more than likely there's going to be a struggle. There's the anomalies like like Dwayne Wade and spit like that, but for the most part, you finna struggle them first 6-7.
I mean, yeah, that should be like the thing though, because like when you a top pick like LeBron, you're gonna go to a bad.
You're not just being drafted just to help. Most of the time you're being drafted to be like a franchise savior. Most of the time.
And I feel like with MJ's case, I wouldn't say he was lucky, but like the front office did the right moves as quick as possible, and they made the right picks with drafting Scottie, getting Dennis Rodman, getting all these guys, the shooters, like Steve Kerr, Paxton, I think. But yeah, it's like with LeBron, it was like his best players his first few years was like the big dude, the big white dude.
Big Z, you better put some respect on Big Z, nigga.
I can't think of his name. I didn't want to mess up his name, Big Z.
Yes, I think it's like Ilgauskas or something.
Yeah. People forget Bron brought him with him to Miami too. As soon as he left, people forget that part.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, what was LeBron supposed to do? Like in 2007, and I think the biggest thing with 2007, they weren't supposed to make the finals with that roster like at all. Like LeBron literally willed that team to the finals. And I think that's the biggest part.
I'll give him that. I will give him that. But
now, like,
he also spit the bed when he got there, though.
Yeah, of course. But like,
so if we're gonna praise him for that, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? They gotta be both sides. We can't just praise him for the good.
Oh, yeah,
and then
for sure.
When he spits the bed, we act like the spit don't exist.
Since we speak on this MJ stuff, how do y'all feel about Scottie Pippen recently? Like, how do y'all feel about
what he's been on?
Yeah,
I think you know what I think, man. For one, I'll say this: I don't think Scottie's all the way there. For one, so I'll get that disclaimer. But two, I feel like his feelings are genuinely hurt from Last Dance. That's what I think. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of been on the fence as far as like defending MJ, so we can kind of tell there was something in the air because he had times where he say he's a GOAT, then he has times where it's like, oh well, maybe it's LeBron. And so it's always kind of been that thing. But I feel like after Last Dance and then the way Scottie was depicted, and he feels like there was more. He probably personally feels there was more negative than good, which I can definitely see that angle.
Yeah, because like I've only watched the documentary like when it came out, so like I might like have like the bestest mind. But I feel like they were like praising like certain other people who weren't even on the Bulls when they were praising Scottie Pippen for his efforts. So I definitely could like see I would be upset like they praised
and praising and then even worse, probably there's people in Chicago that was probably getting more love as far as what was shown than Scottie did, and it's like
it was like one episode they was praising. I can't remember the guy's name, but he played international ball and then he went on to play for the Bulls. And
Kukoc.
I think so, but like I was like this man. I feel like that man was getting more praise than Scottie Pippen was, and I feel like he was just.
Yeah, they talked about a lot of his negative, how he sat out. I mean, and I don't know. Maybe the angle is because they were talking about Last Dance. Maybe that's the angle because most of that happened that year. So, I mean, I don't know, but the timeout didn't. That's what was 94 when they told him Kukoc to take the shot over Scottie.
Yeah, that was just a childish kind of moment. So
and then like remember he called Phil Jackson racist for that. So it's like I just feel like his feelings genuinely was just hurt by everybody with that documentary. And then now your son is what I'm saying, effing my ex-wife guts out, the mother of my damn child. So it's like that's even more insult to injury. But I just think he probably is just not genuinely in a good place, man. And it was reported at certain points he was having financial troubles and all type of shit. So prayers up for Scottie, man. That's what
he's going through a lot.
Do we feel like he deserves like more the spotlight on the Last Dance? Like considering like he was like obviously the second best player on that dynasty, do you feel like he should have got more like deserve and love for that?
He definitely should have. I have no argument for that.
Because it definitely was like centered, of course, around MJ's like perspective, of course. But like the thing was like, yeah, Scottie Pippen was like a really good basketball player. Like he took contract cuts. Then you even have people like Phil Jackson saying like, all around, like Pippen's just a really, really great player, getting paid like chump change. You know what I mean? Compared to other people. So I definitely understood like Scottie's perspective, but I also think now it's getting to the point where you can definitely tell, like you said, it's like kind of getting like more of like a mental thing, like something else is kind of like going on that we may not know about. But I kind of just feel like it's something it's just like bigger than the last.
You might feel like I'm the reason this nigga's a billionaire, man.
And real quick, I just wanted to throw in, because we got off of him really quick, was Bradley Beal. I just wanted to throw in one thing real fast. He now ends his 11-year stint with averaging 22.1 points per game and 4.3 in assists. So I just wanted to throw that in there because we got off of that too quick. So I just wanted to make sure I input that.
What was you saying? The Suns got a bum? Is that what you saying?
No, I'm just saying, I just want to mention his stats to make sure anyone who's watching the show who doesn't really watch basketball like that at least understands what they're getting from him.
I ain't gonna cap, KO. I don't feel like no way about that trade. I don't feel like nothing.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes when a big trade happened, he'd be like, "Oh, like I didn't get that from him. For whatever reason, I just didn't."
To add on to that, I think most people feel that way, more like negative too about the trade because of how like the team fits, and like I'm hearing so much about that. But it was like even before this trade, we really didn't have any depth, really. Like so,
it definitely showed in the art.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I'm not big on I'm not going to panic really about depth right now because like free agency hasn't even started yet. So
that's true. And the draft. What's that?
Right, the draft too. Like, we're going to add a player from the draft too. So it's like I'm not worried about any of that really.
I think the biggest thing the Suns should worry about too, and I feel like JC, I feel like you can agree with me when I say this, is their bench.
Absolutely. That's what needs to get addressed.
Yeah, and again,
if y'all had a bench, people may not agree with me, but if y'all had a bench, y'all beat Denver. Wait, Booker was playing? Like
if we have Bradley Beal instead of CP3, we beat Denver.
I'm not gonna go that far, but
I believe it.
But in terms of like that, though, I do agree with KO on terms of like I wouldn't be worried because I feel like the Suns organization has just done like an extremely like great job these past couple of years. Where it's not like I feel like the Suns will definitely do something where they'll get a couple of decent role players and then like they'll be a contender once again. I'm not too worried about the Suns, but I'm kind of with you as well, JC, because like the Bradley Beal trade just doesn't wow me for some reason. Maybe it's just because of I know they don't have depth and they haven't fixed that position yet.
Yeah.
But we kind of just got to see how the offseason plays out to get like.
I feel like people are starting to undermine because I know we got into this era of the scoring point guard and all of that, but I feel like people undermine. Like, I'm not saying you have to go out there and average 10, 11 assists a game, but you just need to be able to control the tempo half court or like, you know what I'm saying? If you need to, y'all need to get out and run somebody that can, you know what I'm saying? It's like I miss that kind of Rondo-ish type of, you know what I'm saying, type of play, but can shoot though. You know what I'm saying? You really don't see too many of those guys. And then if you do, it's a nigga like Trae Young who don't play a lick of defense. So it's like cancels out. So I just feel like people undermine having just a real orchestrator, which Chris Paul is, but he's 40 and always hurt. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I feel like that didn't work. But I think because they're missing that, and don't get me wrong, Booker is capable of getting the point guard numbers. I've seen plenty of games where he got 10, 11 assists and all that split. So I know he's definitely capable of it, moving the ball. But I still feel like his mind first is always going to be score. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's going to – I don't know how comfortable he'll be. Like, James Harden looks comfortable when he's at point. Booker plays good but doesn't look comfortable, if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying, but like even when he plays point, I still see him as a score first thing. And back to like the thing you was talking about, like the point guards, we don't see those type of point guards anymore. I just think the real reason behind that is just because of the transition of the game, really, like how we like may call it like positionless basketball. Excuse me. And it's just like you got big men who can bring up the ball now. Like Joel Embiid can bring up the ball. Jokic, we just seen him the whole playoff run. He can bring up the ball.
But somebody like that, he can orchestrate the offense though. So even if it's not your actual point, like I said, if Bron was there, like as long as you have somebody in the floor who's capable of that, like Golden State has Draymond. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel Steph is more than capable of it, more than people think, but he just hasn't really had the chance to show it. But Draymond is like, you know what I'm saying, another example. Like guys like that who you know. When it gets down to like that half court split, because you're gonna have to run that, especially in the playoffs, that can get things under control to where y'all not playing all out of whack, messy, or getting them one take shots type drives, and that's pretty much what I'm referring to. And just right now, I ain't gonna lie, it don't look too good. But I love your optimism, brother.
Look, at the end of the day, to me, the game is about getting a bucket, and we got 3 of those guys who can do it at an elite level at any time. So,
how's that been working out for the Clippers?
Those guys are injured. That's why, really.
Them niggas ain't injured. They just ain't playing.
Right? They not playing because they injured.
So,
and speaking, I'm glad you brought that up. Hey, I wonder how Clippers must be feeling. The Nuggets win their first championship. It took them 47 years. They've been Clippers have been a franchise for 50 plus years and still got no titles. That's insane.
One Western Conference appearance.
And that was like 2 seasons ago.
You see, are there any like real Clippers fans in LA? Because I feel like every time I hear LA, like it's always
Lakers.
This is definitely a Laker town. 1,000.
It's always Laker and Dodger town. There ain't no Angels.
Clipper home games. We still having like 60% Laker fans up in there.
Yeah, I feel like Clippers are like a little brother organization. Like
But you know what's crazy? I could give you one diehard Clippers fan since the 80s.
Really?
My mama. Ironically, my mom has been a Clippers fan for whatever reason. She's been a Clippers fan since the effing 80s and never waved off of that. Like when they first got Chris Paul, because I'm not gonna say she a big basketball fan, but that's just her team. Like when Chris Paul came, she didn't even know what what that was. She was like, "Oh, okay, Chris Paul, cool guy." When they got Kawhi, I'm sitting here telling her like, "Mom, do you know who y'all got?" She don't have no idea. She just knows she rock with the Clippers. So that's one that I could give you. She's such a damn fan. She don't even be knowing who on the damn team most of the time, and she rocking with them. She just ready. Once it's game 1, she front and center.
And what's crazy is the Los Angeles Clippers at one point were the San Diego Clippers way back then too. They're in the 60s
and
70s.
Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was always surprised how they've been able to like mesh with the Lakers. I've always just like wondered because like the Lakers' most historic franchises are going big in all sports, so it's just kind of hard to see the Clippers kind of coexist between them. But
they building I done drove past the new stadium they building a few times. That's what looks crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
that's what look crazy.
All they gotta do is get some banners in there.
But to your point, KO, like I feel like you kind of doing what I just said the fans be doing. Like you said, like at the end of the day, just get a bucket. That's why I brought up the Clippers, because it's like you still are going to need that guy. You see, like I was worried, like I always looked at Jamal Murray as like a glorified shooting guard. And then he surprised the hell out of me with what he just did with the 21-10 or 22-10, whatever he averaged for the entire series. Like and they had a guy. They had, I call him Gerber Kitch. They had that guy. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to, orchestrate, but then had the actual point that's able to do it. I just feel like to me, that's priceless. And it don't have to be a super big guy like everybody be going for the splash, like the Trae Youngs and all that stuff. It don't necessarily have to be that.
I just feel like I'm a lot more optimistic about it because it's like we're 4 months away from the next season, so anything can happen. I know this roster is going to look.
You feel like they're not done, probably.
Right. They're not close to done. I don't think they're close to done.
Gotcha.
That's why I'm so optimistic, really.
Now, question about the finals, because y'all wasn't here for none of the playoff episodes or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. But there was a question that was brought up from one of the OGs on here. Did Gerber Kitch just end the small ball era?
I think so.
I just feel like he kind of like proved that you don't have to be like the most athletic person on the floor. Like Jokic is like one of the most like fundamentally sound basketball players I've seen in a while, probably ever, if I had to guess. But of course, I didn't grow up in the era back then.
Damn, what about Bumpkin?
That's what I'm saying. But like Jokic he's just like so good. Like to me, he's the best player in the world. I don't think he necessarily ended it. I just think he proved that you can basically win without it, like if necessary. That's all. I don't think he ended anything.
Yeah, I agree with Jay Will. I don't think he ended it, but like we just seen like the Miami Heat, they technically kind of are like a small ball team, and they just made it to the finals. So I don't
Yeah,
think.
but now what's everybody been talking about the last 2 weeks? How they need to get a bid.
Well, I feel like it's the talk been more about just getting like another star that can like at
That
least
too.
a little
That
more
too.
often.
Yeah, that
Like,
too, definitely.
That's why they was in like the conversation for Bradley Beal. But I don't think like a big should be like necessarily what like they have to get.
I mean, but you need
like,
somebody to guard these guys now, because remember, you still got Embiid out there, you still got Giannis out there.
I mean, I feel like how good Bam is, and like he's still got so much more to offer. I feel like that's just your guy that you just go with, and then maybe you
that
pair him
nigga
up
averaged 30 and 16, KO.
I mean, because it's Jokic though, like no one's gonna actually stop him.
So they supposed to just accept that, like, oh, okay,
yeah, and then you try to stop him
30 and 16.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what everybody else did.
You don't stop Jokic. You stop the people around Jokic. Yeah. It's the best way
you can't stop Jokic. He's the best.
That's what I was gonna say. Because if we're talking about stopping Miami,
is this the closest thing we've seen to Shaq in the three-peat era?
As far as like dominance,
yeah,
I want to say like Shaq, like not to like that level.
Yeah, because it felt different, huh?
Right? Yeah, like Shaq was just like that's another level.
Besides Shaq, he got all the three of his ones. So I mean, they're that little stretch.
I feel like Jokic has his own way of dominance. You should say, I would say,
like Jokic is such a crazy.
The effed up part is you can't. The reason why I say like maybe he might have either ended it or slowed it down, because it's like you can't double this nigga because he's the best passing big of all time.
Oh my God!
So you have to stay on that land by yourself. And you need people are going to be drafting to find somebody to specifically guard that. So all the position that we were feeling like was extinct, like a guy like Gobert, or when Tristan Thompson was on Cleveland, like you start going back, or Clint Capella, like that style was becoming extinct, and I think he might have just saved it from going to that in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like to me, like Jokic is just like kind of like I kind of agree with you in a way, because like it just seems like he does so many things that are just like at such elite level. Like he doesn't have to like have like the most points. That man can like put up like 10 points, struggle like shooting, and then somehow rack up like 20 rebounds and like 15 assists. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about Jokic. Like you can take like away like one asset of his game, and like he'll still be like the best player on the court. Like you can't say that players.
And what was cool about watching Denver in that finals run was Miami. There were a couple games where Miami punched them, but they punched. They ended up punching back and ended up coming back in the second half, and they started taking smarter shots. The ball movement was excellent. So, and the paint dominance. Their final game, I think they scored 60 in that zone. So they were aggressive.
I've really. I know I've had a lot of slander on this guy, but over the years, man, like, watching that finals, like, I really undermined that guy's footwork. Like that's one of my favorite like aspects to the game, and he like did that shit to AT just watching him. Look, Dre look like he's seen a ghost right now. Like, who the F is this? But no, like I can definitely appreciate, what I'm saying, just a guy who's, like you said, fundamentally sound with how he hoops, and what I'm saying, like his footwork gives me like the Tony Parker. I'm not gonna say dream, but the guys that went to dream, what I'm saying, even like Kobe in some ways, what I'm saying, as far as like once they get in that block area, what I'm saying, they somehow get that ball up in there, and that's where it starts at.
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you, JC, for admitting that.
Shut the hell
up. But you had a good point.
Yeah, before we move on, I just feel like with Jokic, I don't think you can necessarily stop him by like one player. I just feel like it's more like a team oriented thing. Like, so that's why I don't feel like the small ball.
Once Denver gave him the team around him, that's when it was like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, like
and they're healthy.
Compared to like 2021, where like the guys on the floor were just like guys who probably shouldn't even be on the NBA roster. It's like once he got like his guys back healthy, like Porter Jr. and Murray, I feel like it just helped him.
Oh yeah,
and expanded his game.
For sure.
And Caldwell Pope did great defensively as well.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah,
And Bruce
you got
Brown
to tip
stepped
your
in the
hat
play.
off to the Nuggets because they made like the right moves to make sure this roster was constructed to win a championship like right now.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Bruce Beast.
Because I can't lie, because I was one of the people on draft night. I was thinking, Michael Porter might have been like kind of a bust just because like the injuries, like having back problems at like what 18, 19.
Yeah, he came in with a effed up back, like literally.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he played the first season, did he?
He went to Missouri. I think he played like 6 games there.
Yep.
Like had the injury, had the surgery, and everybody kind of doubted him. He was like projected to be like a top 3 pick, I think, that draft class until
he was supposed to be number 1 that draft.
He was a dog. Like he was so good, bro. Like I felt bad for him when he slid, but like I had a gut feeling. I was like, man, he may be a bust because I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with these injuries. But he still has the injuries, but he's still effective on the court. So.
I got a question for y'all because I know y'all a lot younger than me, but y'all probably got a more vivid memory college wise than me. How effing good was Kyrie to play 4-5 games and still go number 1? Was he set to go number 1 even if he would have came out of high school type spit? What the hell was that?
I think that was more like a thing where like he had so much hype coming out of high school that like
it didn't even matter.
It wasn't really much that could like deteriorate his draft stock really.
And it was something similar to like.
So he didn't have to play any games really.
Right? Yeah, like he didn't have to play any games really.
Like, cause I didn't really think Ben Simmons was just like the best player at LSU, but like he was so hyped up coming out of high school. It was like he's gonna be the one. They would call him like the next LeBron. And I hate when people say, "Oh, OJ Mayo's gonna be the next LeBron. Ben Simmons is gonna be the next LeBron," and stuff like that. Like I was watching him play. Like
Sebastian Telfair.
He just wasn't carrying LSU on his back. Like I don't even think LSU made the tournament that year with Ben Simmons. So I mean,
Ben Simmons now.
But he's still a solid defensive player though. I love him defensively.
Ben Simmons gonna get back. He gonna get back.
Oh my god, no, bro, horrible taste.
I'm keeping my stock on Ben Simmons. Y'all can sell whatever. If y'all giving up on him, that's whatever. But I'm not giving up on
even
Ben
for what he was great at though. You know what takes away from all of that? The nigga ain't got no heart. So I don't even see him having the will and determination and all that to even get back to that level.
I feel like the media's like so much influence. Like he's such a bad, like he's just like a bad shooter at sometimes. Like the way he hesitates on some of his shots is just like insane. Like you know what I mean? Like defensively, he's there. Like he's like loaded, locked and loaded. Like that's why I think he's just gonna be more of like a defensive liability now. But like offensively, it just seems like sometimes this man is just scared.
But I thought he was gonna go to Brooklyn and at least be like a. Like a Draymond type of role. At least.
I can say like we needed way more from him. And
you couldn't even do
for
that.
The injury. Like that's.
I think the hype kind of just kind of like he got like kind of just like in too much of the media. That kind of
that's what that's what the OG on the show said. He said he feels like in the first place he got drafted too high, and that's kind of what it might have led to all of this because we wouldn't be probably looking at it the same. And he was the number 1 pick.
It's hard to be a number 1 pick. Everybody expects you to be great. You know what I mean? So
I feel like he was living up to that like his first couple years though. Me personally.
I think
for sure.
I think that one playoff series, I think it was against the Hawks. I'm not sure what team it was, but like he got slandered so much that playoff series. It was just like they like
that ended his career.
Yeah, and when you have Kyrie Irving in your ear telling you to shoot an open shot and you're like hesitant to take that, that's what I need him to get past.
But look, Jay, here's how I feel about Simmons. Like I feel like people talk about the shooting a lot. That's not even my biggest like critique on Simmons. It's his aggression. Like it don't like that's just effort. That's not nothing else but just effort and mentally being sound to be aggressive for your team. I remember Isaiah Thomas, Detroit Isaiah Thomas. I remember he said it perfectly of how you should be running the point. Like if you want to pass, then shoot. You want to shoot, then pass. And I think he's just like sometimes too overly passive because he knows how great he is at that. But little does he know, the more aggressive you are, the more of a threat you become to where they are going to really collapse and all of that, like how they be doing with Gerber Kitch. And that's, you know what I'm saying, get that version of him. And we've seen that with Simmons when he was aggressive. We seen what the hell he did. You know what I'm saying? He had a point where he was more aggressive. I feel like when the playoffs came around, that's when it would show. And I thought it was long before that Hawk series. I don't know if KO was in the chat yet, but
I may be wrong. But
I've been a Simmons slanderer for a long time, buddy. Like I remember back when he got like 1 point against the Celtics in the playoffs, and nobody would
Yeah, that made
somebody
me
like that. Yeah, Dre probably remember that.
Yeah, for sure. Like when, like, because the playoffs
I
is
was
just
like,
such a
what?
difference. It's such a different setting that it's like I don't think it benefited his game really. How he could take over a game really. So like, yeah, I definitely think. But like back to what you said about the aggression, I just think it comes from him just mentally not being there. And I feel like that's what it mostly is. Like, if he can mentally get there and get the mental help he needs and like have just be mentally like sound, like you said, I think he can get back to that for sure.
Yeah, I
And
feel
the
like
back
it's more
injury.
so.
Y'all didn't bring up the back
Good
injury.
luck dying
That
on that
man-
hill, my brother.
Ben
I
Simmons,
do think he's right. It's more of like a confidence thing with Ben Simmons. Like I feel like he's just got to be there. Like he's got to mentally feel like he can take over a game.
But what can possibly give him that back at this point?
That's why I don't even know if he can get that. That's why I'm just kind of hoping that maybe one day something happens. He's like, hey, maybe I am that guy, and I can be that type of player. I just don't know if he.
That meltdown that he had after that series, I don't even feel like he has that in him to even have that conversation with himself. The way you melted down, usually after a bad series, nigga, Matt, y'all talking about slander. I'll go back to your point earlier about Brian being the most hated ever. Imagine if he would have had the mentality he would have had after 2011. How many players got hate like that after a playoff series? You know what I'm saying? And he would have just folded and been like, man, I can't take this. Like, come on, man. I mean, granted, Bron didn't have his teammates throw him under the bus. So maybe that does change it a little bit, but
like I feel like at the same time though, like you're right. Like that kind of like what separates like great players sometimes, like how well you can handle criticism. Like I feel like the Ben Simmons criticism gets worse every single year. And I feel like this year, I feel like before the season started, people were thinking, okay, maybe this is Ben Simmons' year to kind of prove it. And then it kind of just like slowly started like dying down, and everybody was like, oh, this is typical Ben Simmons. No, it doesn't really help to mention like he was like the most hated man the year before because of like the whole not wanting to play for the 76ers and becoming the most hated man in Philadelphia at that time period. So you know what I mean? Like,
and that's the worst city to become the most hated man.
That man was hated in Philadelphia. I remember the game back, he was like sitting on the sidelines. He wasn't playing. Like they just booed him. I feel like the entire game that man wasn't even playing. So it's just like,
yeah, he
was gonna make sure he heard him.
He might be good, man. Just shade off. What he signed? $100-something million contract. Like I think he just going.
And
go ahead and shade off with that.
He also needs to get healthy again. I don't think he's been healthy. He hasn't.
You know what? I have heard that argument, and I could see that. A back injury is definitely not easy to come back from, especially when you keep trying to play through it. So, yeah, maybe he do need to get right first.
I don't think he'll be one of those guys like he'll be out the league in a few years. I think he's still definitely good enough to play in the NBA, especially how well he plays defensively. I don't think he'll be like that.
I ain't gonna care. I think he might be done. I think he might get another chance or two because of who he is, but I don't think he ever finds a true home again.
I don't think he'll become like a superstar or all-star material rugby player again.
Like that's long gone. I feel.
I feel bad for him too, but it's just one of those things. Like it's basketball, you know what I mean?
The way he handled it, I don't. The way he handled that situation.
The whole contract thing, I didn't like it at all. But...
I mean, get your money. That's what I say. Get your money.
All right. The cat comment. Y'all seen that switch?
Bro, when he said he changed it. He
feels like he changed the game. With
the only thing he's changed is his voice in interviews.
All right, so hold on. Before we start this convo, so does everyone disagree with that comment? Like, because I agree. I agree that he has changed the game.
So I wholeheartedly disagree, but when I slander Cat, I can't but think of who he lays down with every night. So it's like, damn, I can't even slander this nigga too hard. You the GOAT, man. Like, you cracked Jordan Wood. So it's like, I'm kind of slowed down on that, even though I think he's a bum as a player. And I've always been on that. But no, I don't think he changed the game. Do I think he might be the best shooting center ever? Possibly. But, I mean, I think that's where that ends.
Is there a reason? Like, why do you agree, KO, for your part?
So I feel like I agree with that because I think he made it more like he wasn't the first big to start shooting threes, obviously, but I just think I feel like he made it make it more comfortable for bigs to shoot threes and like make an offensive system where like you're confident in your big man to shoot threes and like just keep shooting them. Like,
are you talking specifically about the center?
Yeah, like big, like, well,
like big men in general.
You have big
in general.
For sure.
Like, yeah, we've had big shooting. I'm not saying like he's the first big man to just start shooting threes.
No, I'm saying, yeah, like I'm talking about like at a high value. Like I'm talking even the bums. You had niggas like Mariani, who that's probably all he damn shot.
They wasn't shooting like 8 threes a night though.
They were, I was about to say they weren't as effective. Like,
right, yeah. And they not as efficient either at shooting at such a high level. That's why
I say he might be the best, possibly. We could have that argument. As far as centers. Not big, but centers, yeah.
I feel like the game was going to change to like more of like a 3-point era anyway, to like where bigs were going ahead and start shooting threes. Like that man Marcus.
But why is Cat getting more credit for that than Steph? From y'all.
Well, first of all, because Cat is a big, so Steph's not no big. Are you talking about like just the evolution of the game? Like,
yeah,
that's how
3-point, bro. The narrative when Steph came in the league was, I don't know if y'all remember this, but you can't win with a 3-point shooting team. A jump shooting team can't win. Now you can't win without it. That's Steph, in my opinion.
But I do see what he means. I feel like he's probably saying like Cat was maybe like the first true big to kind of like step out and like, you know, shoot threes or like just shoot in general, like at a high volume, as well as like being effective in like other field, like rebounding and like, you know, becoming an actual like consistent all-star without this career. But I don't know. It's just hard to say like he's the reason because, you know,
there's so many.
I think Steph got everybody shooting across. Like you said, it's turned into more positionless basketball. Steph made it to where everybody has to be able to at least take a decent little jumper. Like,
and it wasn't like it was just like necessarily
get a roster spot.
It wasn't like it was just like winning basketball either. Like, you know, even though Cat was like still doing all this, it's not like the Timberwolves were doing anything to like make other people like, oh hey, you know, I see Cat.
Yeah, like look at Cat. I want to be like that when I grow up.
Like Curry did it. Like why he did that? He started an entire dynasty. That ain't really done much.
Like,
you know,
it's 100% Steph in my opinion. Like I said, I might
Steph
give
is the most influential for that for sure.
Yeah, like Steph probably influenced Cat, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he probably
Steph taking all them damn logo
really.
shots. He like, hold on, I can at least shoot from right here. Like he's shooting from way over there. I can at least shoot from right here.
And that's why I think it comes in where Cat made it like a thing where like bigs are comfortable, like trying to match that, like shooting as many threes as Steph. Like we would never hear that prior to like when Cat came in.
I kind of see your point. I hate this old great basketball mind have a nigga right here. You got a point.
But yeah, that's why I feel like he definitely like at like in some way definitely changed the game. Not like,
but all right, can we do Steph 1, Cat 2 with that?
Cat might not even be 2, really. But yes,
where would you
mean, like lower or higher?
Where would you place
Cat? Like lower?
Oh, okay.
Like where would you put him at when you say lower?
He would be probably top 5, top 10
as far as the influence.
Yeah, top 10 influence. Top 10.
I won't lie. I would like to say like I like how like there's a lot of like different centers. Like not every like centers is just like a 3-point, you know, flat out shooter. Because I like the old school way. Like I like just like dominating on the boards, dominating in the paint. Like that's why I always love Shaq. People like that. And I want Bam to be the same way. If he could do that like on a consistent night, I would love to have a player like Bam on my team.
Well, Bam like 6'7", 6'8".
About 6'8", I think.
Something like that. But like he's just such an effective big. Like I feel like if he would just do it like on a consistent rate, like it just be.
He too little. He got like that.
Yeah.
Bismack Biyombo syndrome.
Yeah, I feel like Jay was talking about like just as like being aggressive around the rim. Like just Bam being more aggressive around the rim. Like he don't got to be like some back to the basket guy, obviously.
Bam balled out in the finals, and I ain't say nothing last week because I knew Isaiah probably would have. Isaiah and Martin, they be effing me up every little thing I say, but he was kind of pissing me off with some of them little mid ranges he was taking. Like some of those was ill advised, even though the numbers look good for the series.
For sure, like there
was a couple times where I'm like, Bam, why, bro, why?
Yeah,
like, I don't feel like you're that comfortable to just be. He gets them sometimes, but I don't think it's like it's butter. Damn near every 9 out of 10 for him. You know what I mean?
And then I think right after game one, when Bam had I don't know how many points he dropped. It was 25. I don't know, probably more than that. Mike Malone was he's comfortable Bam scoring that much points, and I was yeah, this series over with. They saying all that because I just feel when Mike Malone said that, he was okay. He basically I'll let Bam score as much as he wants if that means we'll still get the win because even though Bam scored that much, I think he had a lot of
great damn strategy.
But don't forget too, Bam Adebayo earned a lot of his. I'm not gonna say a lot, but some of his points came from the free throw line too. Because if you notice, he put up say 22 points, but he'd have 8 of 20 shooting. So a lot of it did come from that free throw line. I don't think he shot the ball all that well,
and a lot of hustle buckets. A lot of that was effort.
I was
disappointed. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little disappointed with Jimmy because it's I'm glad you got them there, but it's it's certain moments. I feel personally, Jimmy can score the basketball whenever the F he feels like it. But I feel sometimes he chooses, I'm not gonna do that. Like that turnover he had in right before the game was over. It's bro, what are you doing? He does that a lot. It was just probably more, exemplified right there because of the moment. But Jimmy does that a lot, and it pisses me off. And I'm saying that as Jimmy being one of my top 3 favorite players in the league. But when he gets in that mode to basically what he does in the regular season now, he plays like that all regular season now, and then turns up in the playoffs. That and he did it for the first few rounds, and then once he got to Denver, it was he went back to his being passive and not being too aggressive. But you notice them times where he did decide, well, I'm about to take over, he took the F over. I just think I don't understand what it is with my guy, man.
Yeah. And I just think that's why so many people were disappointed with his finals performance, because we saw in the Bucks series how he took over. We saw instances with the Knicks series he took over. Even in the Celtics series, in game 2, he took over. The final 6 minutes. So I feel that's why people were so disappointed.
Game 7.
Right, game 7.
When everybody thought they was going to lose.
Mm-hmm. He just played too much until what Denver wanted. Basically what wanted him to do, which was just
that's what I was gonna say too. I think Denver got to get more credit. I think they did a great job on him in general. Yeah.
So do y'all feel Jimmy can win a title as the number 1 guy, or how y'all feel about that?
Damn, I asked that last week too.
I think he can. Maybe it's just the window is just so.
I want to say yes, but thank you. You said it perfectly, bro. I think it, but it's at the same time that window look like it's, what I'm saying?
He turns 34 in September, so it's he peaked kind of late.
I feel like them Cinderella runs is only gonna last for so long, brother. And that's what I feel happened in that series. I said that last week. I said I feel like their carriage turned back into a pumpkin, and that's I think that's what we witnessed right there.
You 100% right. That goes for any sport. Whenever you have a Cinderella story, they never win the entire thing. Basically, they get close to it and it kind of crumbles as it's expected to be. But
and I want to see I don't know what it is. I feel I think I know what it is. I think those Cinderella teams that do really good, because it happened in the NCAA tournament this year as well. But they knock off all these teams. They're oh man, we're just rolling through these teams, but sometimes they just run into a brick wall, someone that meets their match.
And that's always how it is college basketball watch. It just depends on not whether who's ranked higher, who's the best team on paper.
Hell, I think that's what happened with my Lakers. I said it on Facebook. I was you know what? I can't even say Swift. They better than us. Point blank period.
You can make a case the Grizzlies, and they end up beating the Grizzlies, but when you have a team against the Nuggets, they just kind of outmatched them in almost every single aspect. But it wasn't they were getting blown out every single game. So I will give credit to that. But I didn't see them beating the Nuggets at all.
And you hear, and JC, you hear me say this a lot. I think another thing that really cost Miami was I'm not even gonna say turnovers. I'm gonna say careless turnovers, because when they were losing with 2-3 minutes left, there were times where they would just lose it and then just be and complain about that's why you were losing the ball. Bad passes, all that. Tripping over your feet.
What we got? Off topic real quick, Jay. Will, you been in any Grizzly games?
Yeah, I was at the game 1 Lakers Grizzly game.
I think I did say something to you about that.
Like Michael Jordan for some reason. Good experience. But
most of them games was blowouts though, huh? That was probably boring.
When,
that was lucky a boring series.
First
game
one,
one when
I know
that when
I think the first one we pulled out.
Is that when
game
LeBron
one,
and
the
the
Lakers
Lakers
won?
whooped them?
Because wasn't game one like the Rui Hachimura game?
Yeah, that's when like
yeah, because that was when Bane and them was trying to shade my nigga and Reeves.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that was a problem. That was like the main problem with the Grizzlies. Like to me, like why are you gonna call out the Lakers? Like out of all people, Dylan Brooks. Like I love them.
What y'all think about their window? Since we on the topic, what y'all think about the Grizzlies window?
They got about. I'm giving them like this right now, and the only reason I'm not trying to be funny or talk shit. The only reason I'm saying that is because Loudmouth needs to shut the fuck up. That's what he needs to do.
Who's to say he even gonna be there?
Dylan Brooks, they already said that.
Even if he was to stay, he's gotten to guys like Desmond Bain, because you heard Desmond talking years all that. He's starting to get to their heads now, thinking it's cool. No. And I want to give him a big window, but the problem is that they have no rings to talk. And Jaw's doing all this shenanigans on the outside.
These niggas was talking like they was Golden State.
Yeah, like they got 4 chips. Y'all got none, so chill out. Like
I kind of like, bro, I'm like the opposite. Like I love like this winner. Like I'm the biggest Dylan Brooks fan because of that. I feel like they weren't even going to beat the Lakers from the start. Like I feel like the Lakers.
But at some point, if you talking and not doing spit, you kind of just look like a clown.
But there's a difference between talking. There's a difference between talking and like actually like poking a bear. Like that's kind of like because like his shot was like more so directed at LeBron, but I feel like it kind of like just woke up.
Nigga said give me 40 and then lost by 40.
Yeah.
Can't do that, bro.
And then Desmond Bain didn't make it any better going at the Lakers as well. So I mean, it is.
And I like Bain. That was my guy.
I love my opinion on the whole thing. I was watching Jaren Jackson Jr. on Paul George podcast. And Paul George had brought it up, like, why do y'all, like, basically, like, y'all talk so much, but, like, it don't work.
I gotta see that.
Jaren Jackson's response is basically, like, that's what they pride themselves on. Like, that's who, like, kind of who they are. Like, that's the only reason, like, why they are where they are, really. Like, they just love talking.
They pump themselves up like that?
Yeah, like, that's their competitive spirit, all that talking, really. Like, that's what helps them.
So. I also think I feel like it makes the NBA like more interesting because like if you got the Grizzlies beefing with a lot of teams, like that's going to cause a lot of stir and a lot of talking.
But that's the thing. Who have they beat? I'm waiting for y'all to beat somebody of some significance so I can say, okay, there go a rivalry. Okay, there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah, and that's the main problem because like you do all this talking, like they play well, second seed, come into the tournament or playoffs, excuse me. All this talking, then you get bounced out the first round. And basically kind of looks like y'all fraud.
Exactly. And Jay, you could ask anybody, bro. Grizzlies was my West favorite, or if they wasn't my number one, they was number 2. Like I had them, even when the playoffs started, I was still a little scared. Like, man, the Grizzlies, they might woo, and my Lakers was in there.
Look, so, I like the Grizzlies, but I think losing Steven Adams, I feel like hurt them a lot. Like he was like the main screen and roll guy for Ja. Like he helped Ja. Yeah. Most of his points, and then it didn't help when.
But I don't think Steven Adams would have did anything about. Like I think it would have changed it, but I don't think he would have changed the result.
I think he would. I feel like he's great off the ball. Like I feel like that's his main thing, and he can get rebounds as well. I love it. Like
Steven Adams would have helped match the size to me.
Yeah, because they had like guys like Xavier.
Adams is like I don't think he's like a big size guy, but he's a like toughness type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like a nigga like AD, he'll have fun with AD because AD's soft. He don't like that getting in there, getting dirty and all. You know what I'm saying? Adams will give him problem. I remember
he's an enforcer.
I think it was Jackson's rookie year. It might have been Jackson's rookie year, and all the bigs from that class. I think somebody had asked them like what was like their welcome to the NBA moment, or who have they had like the toughest matchup with. Everybody was expecting all these super big names, and I think it was Jackson or one of the other ones that said Steven Adams, and they all like unanimously agreed, like, oh yeah, like Adams is tougher than he looks. Like he's like it's like a brick wall sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then he's so damn friendly. It's like he just sitting there and it's like, like, hey buddy, like nice try. But you ain't finna just be doing all that cute post around and all that crazy spit. You gonna work for every bucket with him.
Yeah.
I mean, from that angle,
back to like what you was talking about though, like the Grizzlies like window for like a championship. I think as long as Ja's there, there's always gonna be a window.
That's a fair take.
That's a good point.
Because they can just keep retooling around him if he get his
you already got your superstars, so it's just a matter of how you build a roster. Even with like you got Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., you already got like your 3 guys really. So
and he got at least a good 7-8 years of elite play for sure,
right.
bearing injuries.
All of them really.
That's the main thing. Like they kind of have to keep building.
I don't know about that. All of them stuff.
They just kind of have like.
You don't think like Bane and JJJ like.
Bane is cool, but Bane is not like if they trying to go somewhere for real. If that's what you depending on, you in trouble.
But I think he's just like he plays so well next to Ja to me that you can't like really.
Yeah, he's a great fit. Don't get me wrong, and I love how he played in that what was it, the Timberwolves series last year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I loved how he played in that. But yeah, if that's gonna be your second guy, and I think that's another thing with the Grizzlies. Who is their second guy? I don't think they know. They wanted to make it Brooks. Then they talk Baines. Then it's supposed to be JJ. Like I was saying a couple years ago, I was like, man, if they like get somebody like KD to go over there, I feel like that would be like perfect. I know I don't know what through his mind with the fits he be thinking in his head. I be thinking of way better fits. Grizzlies for me is like the perfect KD fit.
Hey, you know what, JC? I'm not gonna lie. I could see it.
Yeah, like, I think that, and they should have held on to Lil Cuzzo too. I think Melton was more of a glue guy than they were given the credit for at that time, like defensively.
Oh my God,
he's definitely their best perimeter defender at the time. Shut up, KO.
Even in the, I like the there were times even in the
KO used to be hating back in the day when he was on Phoenix.
I was hating on everybody on the Suns that was not named Kevin Booker back then.
All right, let me ask you something though. Do you remember that game? I probably, I don't know if I remember more than you, but do you remember that game Booker was out for like 10 games or something like that? Mm-hmm. And y'all had a game against the Clippers. And he had hit a shot against them to take that split to overtime. Do you remember watching that? I don't think y'all had like all the guys, but Booker, I remember he hit like a buzzer beater, like to send the split to overtime. I think y'all ended up losing it, but that was his rookie season.
Oh yeah, we did lose that game.
And he ended up starting for like 25 games or something like that during that year.
Mm-hmm. I just remember that whole season in general. I don't remember like the specific games. So.
But that was a terrible year. I feel you though.
it was terrible year. Until like Chris Paul got there, it was kind of rough times for me.
Yeah. They best season before that was that split they did in the bubble.
Yeah, when we went 8-0 in the bubble. And like that,
how'd you feel about that at the time? Did you feel good about that, or were you just like, man, I don't care about that?
Oh yeah, I felt great about that. I feel like it was momentum for us heading into the next season, and like that bubble run actually really like helped us a lot because I think we realized that we need to move on from Kelly Oubre because he didn't play the whole bubble, and that's how like the CP trade happened because we sent Kelly Oubre to the Thunder and he got waived, so that really was like a blessing for us, really.
I know y'all seen the news with Doc throwing Harden under the bus. It's like this guy never learns when it comes to taking accountability. But my question is, do y'all think Doc will ever coach an NBA again?
I do not. No.
I don't think so either, but I also believe too that if you have a certain type of resume, you're always going to have a job. Just sometimes it might take longer to find. Because I feel like everyone at some point.
But at this point, it's like, how many chances does a nigga get?
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, it kind of just depends on like how strong like the coaching candidates are for next season. Like, if he does land a job, I don't think it'll be like at a big time, program. Like, it'll probably just be somewhere small. Like, I was about to say Detroit, but I guess they have their man up there.
But I don't think to be honest, I don't think he takes a small job. I think at this point he gonna feel like, man, I want the big dogs. But then it's like, we've seen what you've done with big dogs. How many big dogs you gonna get?
That's what I was gonna say. I like your point. Like as good as his resume might be, look what he's done with Philly. Let's look at recent history, not past, but recent history. And he hasn't. The Clippers,
I
the
mean,
Sixers.
we can even date back to Orlando. We had T-Mac in there.
He's had so much talent.
Damn, that's right. He did.
Bro, is there any coach right now that has like had more stars than this guy has? You got one ring to show for it on a like.
And don't get me wrong, I know it was in 2008, but you got to do more than that, man. You haven't done anything since.
And that got to be the most glorified ring I've ever seen in my life, bro. They be talking like these niggas be talking like they went on like a dynasty run, like on some Golden State type shit. These niggas have a reunion every year over that one ring.
The only reason it is so big and it was treated that big, it was because it was against the LA Lakers. That is the only reason. You taxed us 2 years ago, but before that 2010 meeting, we taxed y'all.
Okay, y'all supposed to have more respect. Y'all supposed to have more respect for yourselves than that. The Lakers went back to back, and how many reunions you done seen us have? Because we're the Lakers, right? We got the shit. We don't need to do all that over no back. So as the Celtics, y'all should have more respect for yourself than that.
I'm just saying it was only because we had beaten you, and especially because you had Kobe Bryant on that team as well. So
and then y'all use the excuse that y'all lost because of Perkins, huh? Because y'all didn't have Perkins the second time. That's what did it.
I don't blame that. We lost fair and square.
That was what your boy Doc did. So I'm just making sure.
Well, that's Doc's complaining ass, not mine. Perkins, the Lakers, look, we gave it their all, but we lost that series fair and square. There shouldn't be any argument. Doc, you just cried.
That was a scary game right there. What was y'all 9, 10? Y'all was checking out that game at the time?
I mean, of course, growing up, I don't have just like the most vivid memory game by game, but I kind of just remember
that was a classic game 7 right there, boy.
That was an
shout out my guy Artest, aka World Peace.
World Peace.
Shout out what was his name? Sasha Vujacic or Vucevic. For the
Shannon Brown.
I can't lie, I definitely was rooting for the Celtics just because, growing up, I hated Kobe Bryant for whatever reason. I couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him or LeBron.
Where'd you grow up?
So what?
Where'd you grow up?
See, I'm a Mississippi guy, but I've always been a Bulls fan. You know, Derrick Rose, whatever.
You know, he tried to go to them at one point.
Who? Derrick Rose?
Cole.
Or Cole? Oh, you talking about Kobe?
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, I still just didn't like Kobe. I don't know why. I think it was more so because it's like his ego, or it could have just been a case of like I was young and he wasn't on my team, so I just hated him. And he was like one of the best.
There's a guy.
That's definitely why I hated LeBron growing up because like he killed the Bulls. I feel like every single season it was just annoying, but it's more so.
He killed everyone.
How was you feeling
We're in the East. Nobody else.
How was you feeling the 62 win season? How was you feeling about your chances going into that?
I mean, I feel like we would have won the champion. But like at the same time, like I have to keep in mind, like I was really young. So like at that time period, I'm thinking championship. I'm thinking we're the best team in the NBA, and like not winning it, and not even going to the finals is kind of just like disappointing. Like looking back, that probably would have made like 10-year-old me cry. That's how much I hated LeBron. Like
I'm not gonna lie, watching the Lakers take that in 10, that was because I was about 9 or 10 around that as well. So watching that whole series, being a Celtics fan and my dad being a Lakers fan, I was like, when they lost, I was like, the world's over. The world is all over.
I got a confession though. I only really got to see the last 2-3 minutes of that game 7. You know what day that was? My high school graduation. And I have not, when I tell you, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I have not forgiven my mom to this day for making me go to my graduation. She still hears about that to this day. I have not let that go. Like that was probably the biggest argument we ever had. I'm like, this is never gonna happen again. This is the Lakers and the Celtics with Kobe Bryant. Like we will never see this again. And I gotta miss it. Like I was like, man, I'm getting my diploma. Is that not enough? That don't count for nothing. He was not hearing it, bro. So I had to. And then on top of that, they tried to have the nerve to say we can't have our phones. Man, I must have snuck my spit. I don't remember what I put it in. My cap, I don't know what I put it in, but I found a way to get that spit up in there. I was like, I'm not finna not watch the game and not know what's going on. Because back then, the streaming thing wasn't, super prevalent yet. So all I could do is really look at the play-by-play on the, like ESPN website or whatever. So I had the score and I kept bringing it out. And I ended up getting caught too. Like some of the teachers seen me, but they couldn't do spit but laugh. I'm like, what y'all gonna do? Kick me out? I don't want to be here anyway. So I missed most of that game, but I had like people 3-4 rows back. Hey, what's the score? Like it was like that. A lot of people felt the same way as me. Like it was insane. That was like the worst day they could have picked for that damn graduation. I still haven't gotten over that, as y'all can see. Thank y'all for allowing me to lay on the couch right now and get.
Y'all graduating like June or something like that? Like
it was June.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was like June something. Yeah, it was around. It was around this time. So
I guess it's real quick. We graduate like early May or like middle.
Yeah, that's how it is now. Yeah, now they've kind of moved it up. Most graduations being like May, but back then, unfortunately, it was it used to start in September, end in like June. That's how it used to be. Now I hear they start in like August and end in May. And thank y'all for making me feel even more old.
It's cool too. The one thing I knew when I knew it was over, that 10 series, I knew it was over when Kobe went to the podium when they forced Game 7, and he was like, "Job's not finished. We got one more game." And he had a little smile at the end. I was
wrong series, nigga.
Wrong one. Okay.
That was them bums in Orlando. That was when KG ducked the smoke.
Did we make?
Hold on. That's another one. Back to the Bron thing. That's another series people act like never existed. When he lost to Orlando, it was supposed to be Kobe and Bron that year. That was supposed to be the year we were supposed to get that. And this nigga loads to like we just knew it was going to be Kobe and LeBron. And this nigga let us down again. You finally don't got to worry about the Celtics. And that's how you do us.
I mean, I feel like even if it was like Kobe and LeBron probably would have ended up losing anyway. But I mean, I would have thought.
Yeah, and that would have helped me with my Kobe Bryant arguments, nigga. I needed that. He took some away,
right? Because it's not a final.
That is a good question though. Who do y'all think would have won that at the time?
What year is that? 2010?
2009 when he lost to Orlando.
2009.
Oh, honestly,
Kobe winning that probably.
Yeah, I feel like
Kobe getting.
Do y'all think that changes the? Do y'all think that drastically changes the debates we have between those two today?
No, I don't think so.
You know what it is, bro. I know y'all. You know y'all are that generation. So I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. But I think if you're not in LA, there's a totally different way you probably view Kobe Bryant. Because I want to tell y'all something. I'm gonna let y'all in a little LA secret. Calling Michael Jordan the GOAT in LA is a hot take. And not for the reasons that you think. If you got Jordan over Kobe in LA, that is a hot take. It got to a point where I don't even argue the split no more out here. Like I stopped arguing that a long time ago, and I just knew, like, you know what? That's what Kobe is out here. So anybody in LA that has that type of energy, I don't even continue with it because I know there's no winning that. I view them the way I view like LeBron fans on the internet. Like to me, it's equal energy, and I got him the GOAT in both cases. So that's why niggas can't really say I'm biased because I do the same spit when it comes to the Kobe MJ arguments. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like I got Kobe way up here and Bron way down here type spit.
No, that's crazy. I would have never thought that for real. Like it makes sense though because it's LA, Kobe, everything.
Yeah, that the type of city we are in general. You know what I'm saying? Like we're built for like the glam Hollywood big stars, and then Kobe comes at the pivotal time that he came and pretty much brings that culture back. Like I said, at a pivotal time, and it's like there is nothing bigger than Kobe in LA, bro. Like I can't think of Swift, maybe Snoop. Snoop and Kobe is
Ice
like
Cube.
it's nothing bigger than that in LA.
I don't love Magic like that down there, or like how y'all feel
No,
about
we
Ice
F with
Cube?
Magic, but Magic is kind of like before our time. You know what I'm saying? For like a lot of the even my era, like that's before my time, and I'm considered
No,
the old head
What
now.
about
So.
Shaq and stuff? Like, even though he wasn't there for like that long.
I feel like I have more appreciation for Shaq than a lot of Laker fans do, because he took off the way he did, and then you end up putting a Celtics jersey, so it's like I don't think he gave us that same like Laker for life type of.
I know. Saying
Feel.
Celtics jersey was definitely weird for you.
Yeah, for sure. But
That was weird
I
for
mean,
everybody.
even him leaving in general, though, it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we had to, like, we went through something with Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Shaq left. Then we had to go through that era where we was either missing playoffs or getting bounced in first round, and then had to wait. And then we got Powell. And then, you know what I'm saying? We went through a whole journey from top to bottom, like most of Kobe's life. So it's going to be more intimacy there for that alone. But I definitely, I don't feel like I have more appreciation for Kobe than I do for Shaq. Like, I feel like I equally appreciate both of them for what they've done for the city and just for me as a person. Like, there is that the Laker Kobe, the Laker Kobe Shaq era in LA is like a you had to be there type of thing. Like, I couldn't even put it into words for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember us driving through the parades and spit. Like, it was I had no choice but to be a Laker fan. It wasn't even no conversation, bro. Like, it was no other choice.
Damn, you are so lucky though. You got to see a three-peat with your own eyes. That is
So, like,
crazy.
off the rip though, too. I think I was like what, maybe 7, 8 when I got cracking. When the first 3P got cracking.
But you seen like Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. Like, you in that like that time span of just like.
I seen Wizards Jordan. I don't think I saw it. God damn, nigga, how old you think I am?
I'm saying like you saw like
Yeah, no, I seen Wizards Jordan. I might have seen like a tad bit of like late Chicago Jordan, but not to where I can really put to memory. I can give y'all like some history. Like, I had this daycare I used to go to, my babysitter. She had a nephew whose name was Gilbert Arenas, and he went to Grant High School right down the street from us. So we used to see his games there. When he went to Arizona, we used to see his games on TV when he was playing for them there. And then next thing I know, this nigga playing for Golden State, and we watching his games on there. So I was seeing games, throughout that time too, also through that, because, we used to see Gilbert in the house one day, and the next thing you know, we watching this nigga on TV because, he grew up in that section right there. So quick little fun fact I never mentioned on here.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah, so if I was to run into Gilbert right now, he would definitely remember the little bad little kid at the daycare for sure. Let me get y'all a quick take on him. I had somebody tell me probably like some months ago, my boy KC, he was saying that he feels like Gilbert don't get enough credit as far as like the I guess paving the way for kind of like the Steph thing, because if we look back, Gilbert was taking them type of shots way back then for like game winners and shit like that. Like, what y'all think about that?
Yeah, I just felt as a whole, Gilbert never got his credit, like in general. Like, I don't even think people talk about him today, but I feel like it was always a good player. Like, I've never understood like why people don't talk about it more. Maybe it's just because like, he just wasn't like
his mouth.
You know what I mean? I mean that's one of the reasons I like to talk about him more, because of his mouth. But he has a lot of incidents. But I don't know. I just feel like he never really got his credit. Never really got his slice of the pie when it comes to like that 2000s range as well. Like, I don't know. It's
Gilbert Arenas was. And they even made him like he was OP'd when you played him in video game. Like, Gilbert Arenas, I think he was a really solid player. I loved watching him. He was a small guy.
I mean, he had made one of the Olympic squads, didn't he?
Yeah.
What year though?
I think what year was that? It might have been like 08, 09 or something like that. I don't think he was on Redeem Team, but I think he might have been on the 09 FIBA squad. Because I remember he had a clip where Chris Paul was talking shit about having like a 99% chance of losing if you got Gilbert on your team.
To add on to the Gil thing, he was definitely like an outlier in his generation, and like he definitely deserves more credit. I just feel like he doesn't get like the respect he deserves because like what was mentioned, like the incidents he has, like it kind of overshadows his actual success in the NBA, and maybe just like having not enough success, really like winning a championship or anything like that. So
people forget he was running in the Brown every year.
Right.
Like that was like the rivalry at the time. That was like Indiana and Golden State before all of that. That was like LeBron's first. He was running in the guild. I think with that Cron Butler. I think your boy Kwame might have been on there.
It may have been a time where like there was just like a lot of young stars at the time. Like you couldn't even put aside like Nuggets Melo was a big thing, where he was hyped up. It may have just been like one of those things where it's like so many like younger or like potential stars. Then of course you had like whatever. He kind of maybe just got kind of like lost in between all of that, and it's not really his fault at all. It's just that
people even forget when like they was playing each other so much. Him and Deshaun Stevenson ended up having like a beef type of thing, and that's why people didn't understand why he was talking spit in 2011 when he beat him when he was on Dallas. That dated back to Wizard days. I know, bench players talking like starters. I hate it. I get it, all that. All right, man. The college guys, man. I know pretty much all of y'all. What's y'all thoughts on the Victor hype, man? Is it real? What y'all where y'all at with that right now?
I feel like the Victor hype is definitely warranted. He definitely has like the potential to be like I would say at least the top 15, top 20 players of all time when it's all said and done.
Ooh,
yeah, like that's how high the expectations are. For sure. Like, I think he definitely.
So you think he could be Gerber Kitch at some point?
For sure. I mean, like if he can stay healthy, for sure. He doesn't have any health problems right now, so I feel.
And that's always a thing I think about with lengthy. You know what I'm saying? Linky.
Yeah, like they might eventually have like at least like a foot injury or something. But
yeah. I like the hype, but like I'm always just kind of worried about guys with that stature or whatever. But like not even like to shun Victor, but I feel like this draft class is like top heavy, like with Brandon.
Think so?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I feel like the first maybe like 7.
So you think anybody in that top 10 might be they might be okay? They might not be as disappointed as they may think.
I'm a Scoot Henderson guy. I'm all locked in. Like if I was a Bulls GM, I would trade for that number 2 pick just to get him. And I don't even know why the Hornets are even considering.
So what you got his ceiling at?
Who, Scoot Henderson?
Yeah, like give me a player.
Ooh, I feel like he could be like a Dame type player, like where he can kind of like do a little bit of everything. Okay. And that's his ceiling at least now. But like as a floor, I don't think his floor is just that bad. Like I feel like regardless whatever situation you put him in, he's going to be efficient. I feel like he's going to be a problem. I feel like if Victor wasn't in this class, like he would be the one guy like we would kind of all look to like as to like
consensus number 1.
Like you know what I mean? Like I just feel like this class is just so really good, and like I'm looking forward to like kind of see how it pans out. Even though I'm not a fan of like the G League thing, like basketball people not going to college and taking that route. Never been a fan of it, but
what's your issue with that?
I think playing college ball in general, it exposes you to much more. Like you're not seeing those crowds at the crowds you see now like at like the G League level. You're not seeing that like at the Dukes, the Kentuckys, or whatever. You're also playing with better coaches. You're playing with like other great talent around you. I feel like it kind of gets you just ready for like the atmosphere of the NBA in general, like just being in those type crowds. Like I can't even tell you, like if I would never go to
18-year-old being offered $100,000 and you think he give a F about some atmosphere.
I mean, now with the stuff going around, like you can make that type money, if you're a baller. But
they do got the NILs now. They knew they had to get that off because the G League because of that split, they had to.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I feel like
you see how much bread Angel Reese making right now, like.
She's making more than she'll make in the WNBA. That's
exactly. So that's
I think she's like one of like the most like NIL deal like money wise players. I think she makes like 3.1 million off of NIL.
Man, she straight up said, "I'm not in no rush to go to the WNBA," and I do not.
Yeah, that's why you're gonna see. It's gonna be a future. Like I don't know if y'all keep up with like the WNBA, like women's basketball like that, but it's gonna be a time period where like the top stars, they're gonna stay like their senior and their junior year. They're not even gonna go pro for that reason. So. I mean,
It's like a sticky situation for both sides because, like, I feel the women, but I also feel the league too. It's like, what can we do? Like, we supposed to pay y'all money we don't have.
That's why I'm hoping the WNBA does get like an increase in like salary as like they kind of progress on later. I'm hoping so. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I think the people that's mad about it, what they should do is support the WNBA.
Yeah.
That's how you solve that.
I also do feel like the people who are mad about it don't understand like why it's like this in general. Like, you know what I mean? Like the NBA funds a lot of the WNBA.
And all you women screaming out, y'all niggas support the WNBA. How about y'all support the WNBA instead of telling us to?
Bro.
Yeah, because I'm recently a fan of it. Like, if I could attend games, I would, but there's no team.
Because I got quite a few guys, including you, on my timeline that follow it, know who's who, and all of that shit. So, you know, people that I can go to.
Like, I'm just like a super fan. Like, I'm still learning, like, you know. But
right, of course.
I'm to WNBA now than I've ever been before.
To me, Lisa Leslie the GOAT, nigga. You feel me? That's my.
And see, like the main reason I went into it is because there's a girl named Shakira Austin, and she plays for the Mystics, and she came to Ole Miss, whatever, like my freshman year. Like I remember dominating.
You still there, right?
You said what?
You still there, right?
At Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going into my junior year.
Oh wow!
I see you, big dog.
Let's go. Hold on, let's go. Why do you take so long to say that?
You know, like college. Okay, how you feel about Kentucky basketball this upcoming year? Like, how you thinking?
So what?
How you feel about Kentucky basketball this upcoming year?
I don't know, man. It's just we're in such a weird spot, you know. I feel like, you know, John Calipari kind of dropped the ball a little bit this off season because I think he expected more guys to come back. I don't think he expected it.
What happened to y'all spark, bro? I remember y'all used to have niggas all over the league.
Bro. I mean, like, yeah, we was like everybody feared Kentucky.
That niggas used to have all the stars. I was like, damn.
I mean,
we still trembling every year.
We're still getting like, we're still getting like the top recruits, but I just feel like because of, like you said, like the NIL stuff, so many people are staying. It's kind of putting us in a bad position, considering we're kind of behind on NIL in that situation.
Yeah, because y'all was used to always getting like one and done type niggas.
Right. And like we're still getting like top recruits and everything, but the league is shifting around. You need more of like seniors and super seniors and stuff like that. Like you need 3-4 year guys.
Yeah, and I'm seeing like even like a lot of Kentucky fans saying like they're not happy with John Calipari right now, and I'm like, I would be fine with he was my head coach like any day.
Right. That's the thing. Like Kentucky fans are like really spoiled to me. That's why, you know, I stay level headed about the whole situation because it's like Calipari knows what he's doing. Like he's gonna make mistakes, but it's like this is like we're talking about one of the greatest college coaches ever. Like you can't just like give up on him that easily, just because off of a couple of seasons, including a COVID season that was ruined. Sure.
Jay, you're not too far from all that noise, right? With the Kentucky stuff.
Yeah,
I said you're not too far from all that noise, right? Like with the Kentucky stuff and church and stuff.
Because, you know, since we don't have any like pro teams, like, you know, in Mississippi, people just like root for like whatever the best team is. So like, you know, there's a lot of Lakers, Cowboys, you know, just whatever team is relevant at the moment.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Is Victor the Wembanyama or whatever this nigga name is? Is he the greatest? Is he the biggest prospect to ever come out?
No, I don't think so.
There's a lot of other guys.
I feel like LeBron will always have that title just because it was just so different with LeBron. I wasn't alive, but like you can just read up on it. How, like the articles are still there. Like he was projected to literally be the GOAT, and if he wasn't the GOAT, it was, or at least close to the GOAT, it was gonna be like a bunch.
I think that's. I mean, I do kind of remember that time, and anything less than top 5 all time was like, you know what I'm saying, like a failure, and that's like incredibly unfair to put on any player.
Right. Oh, for sure.
You have to minimum be a top 5 player to ever play this effing the NBA. Like that is wild.
I just feel like it's just so hard to like look at him because like I don't know if he can continue playing that way like in the NBA as he's doing in those leagues. So like that's why I'm like just not just so like I hope he reaches that potential. But like if you were to tell me like am I 100% sold on Victor, it'd just be a no just for that.
I don't even think I wouldn't even say he's bigger prospect than Zion was like. people forget. I mean, that was only a few years ago, but they had this man, and this is where my Zion hate began. I seen this man ranked. I don't remember if it was ESPN or FS1. It was one of them. I seen Zion ranked in somebody's top 20 in the NBA at that time.
Yeah, I remember.
Before he even laced him up and stepped 1 foot on the court. That's when I was like, okay.
But I mean,
and I usually don't judge players until they get on the court. I wait till they get between them 4 lines, then I make my assessment. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, whatever. But I try not to have too much of an opinion until they get on the court. But now y'all didn't put a certain amount of pressure on the player. Like they did this. I feel like, well, not the media, but there were certain people like KO, like you remember Nas and I don't remember if it was Andrick or Osa. It was one of them. But they were on the Luka train at the time. Like they was real heavy on like Luka's the next LeBron and all this type of stuff. And they made me mad. Yeah. But maybe like 2-3 weeks into the season, I was like, gotta see your point.
Right. Jason, also like we would like never highlight international players because like we don't get to see a lot of coverage of them in the United States. So I mean, I guess you can't say like you're just wrong. It's just like I don't even know what team.
Yeah, and then looking at his highlights, I'm looking at who he's playing. I'm like, I mean, what he averaged 15, 5 and 5. Like what the hell? What are y'all talking about? Like that's how I felt. So it's like I was like he better be, and he damn sure was.
That's how people like they want to take him over like Trae Young. I'm sitting over here looking like Trae Young, like Oklahoma or whatever. I'm like Trae Young is a guy, like he was so highly looked at in college basketball. Like they would have like his stat line up the entire game, like crazy. So like I was like, there was no way to pick him over Luka. But now looking back, it's like, yeah, you kind of have to pick Luka over Trae, but it's just one of those things. It's hard to judge international players. Will be.
I will say that I feel like Wemby as a prospect is definitely more hyped than Zion just because of the international thing. Zion just played college basketball, so it was more just like a U.S. soil.
But he was hyped when he was in 7th, 8th grade.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but I can say the same thing about Wemby though. Like I remember, because I followed the draft so much and like the younger guys, the first time I heard about Wemby, he was like 15 years old. He was like 7'2". He was doing crazy stuff. Right. And
you done any pieces on him yet?
I ain't doing any pieces because it just felt like everyone was doing that already. So it was
I'm not gonna lie. I was the same way, like in junior high school. Like I used to just like watch highlight clips of like high school, like LaMelo Ball, Zion, all those type guys. Stanley Johnson, if you remember him from the Pistons. Yep.
Yeah, oh my god,
he was on a Wildcat.
Bro, I thought he was gonna be so good, bro. Him and Josh Jackson.
He was what, like the 3rd, 4th pick or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was like 6 or 7.
I think 3rd.
I was so high on him and Josh.
I think he was low. It was like a little lower than 3rd or 4th. I think so.
Maybe like 7.
I mean, he was top 10 for sure, whatever he was. And he wasn't 10.
Them Arizona Wildcat teams like Stanley Johnson, Aaron Gordon. It was another Johnson guy back then that played on the Wildcat team.
They could have been on that team. I can't remember.
I don't think they was on the same team ever. It was just like around that era, like just Pac-12 in general.
So you get the real basketball hoopers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Be more football down south, but
let me ask everybody one more question before we get off this.
No.
Might be easy for Jay Will, but I'm gonna ask everybody nonetheless. Would you trade your best player on your team right now for Wemby?
No.
No, I'm not. I'm not trading. I'm not trading Book.
From a Bulls fan,
KO, stop playing with me, bro.
I'm waiting, bro. I'll be associated. I'm not trading Book or KD because they the same to me. I don't think one is better than the other. I'm not trading Book or KD.
You know what's funny, Jerry? I had just seen something on Twitter where they were asking who do you build around, and they put Luka, Tatum, and Wemby. And it'd be that type of overrated spit before somebody get in the league that I'll be talking about. So it's funny to hear you say, no, you wouldn't do it because I had just seen that. So it seems like you thinking more logically.
Yeah, like to me, the way I look at it is like I'm ready for like the Zach LaVine, DeRozan era to go away. And it's not even like slander on DeRozan because I like DeRozan, but we're not going to win anything relevant with him. Zach LaVine, I've been waiting for him to go for so long because outside of scoring, it's like, what else do you do? Like, what are you here for? So like I'm kind of just waiting for us to like just scrap it all down and just start up.
Yeah, y'all definitely. I mean, and it's
And we're not
crazy.
going
It's
to-
so effed up because y'all didn't have so many rebuilds in the last 20 years, bro. But it's like
I don't even want to talk
might
about
be that time, bro.
But you know, we have the worst level like point guards and injuries for some reason.
I know, man. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I love Zoe, bro. Like when he's healthy, I love Zoe. I think he can be like one of the best point guards in the league. And I think he's one of the last, like what me and Kay was talking about earlier. He might be one of the last traditional guys that can fit into this era that we have, or the closest to it.
Now it's looking like his stuff is career endings, and I hope it's not. They're saying like it involves.
They already saying he might miss next season, right?
Yeah, that's what they're already saying. I think he has like some type of nerve damage from like a surgery mess up or whatever. That's what the case is out there.
Oh man.
And like when you mess up a nerve, it's hard.
Somebody said he ain't been right ever since he put on them Triple B shoes.
I saw that too. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm kind of just ready for like this to scrape it all over and just just start back something fresh.
I'm so sorry, bro.
I
see it all in your face right now as a Bulls fan. Like
it's just because like the sports team I'm so used to just kind of being like underwhelmed. Like none of my teams, like besides like the Colts in 2006, we have no rings like outside of like all my professional teams. So it's just like
we finna go to football anyway. Like last year, we had predictions and everything on on all the teams and stuff. The Colts was one of the teams, at least for sure. Me, I was very high on like for winning the division and all that. Like, what do you feel like happened?
It was just poor coaching to me. That's why we fired the Frank guy. But like I had like high hopes. Like I'm sitting here thinking, okay, Matt Ryan, he isn't like of course he isn't the same.
You just felt like he was better than Wentz.
He was decent enough. You know what I mean? I think our first game of the season, we played the Jaguars. We tied, and I'm like, okay, it's not great signs.
No, it was the Texans.
Was it the Texans? If it was the
Texans, yeah.
We got I think it was like 24-0. And I'm like,
Texans, yeah. Jaguars beat the dog spit out of you.
And then it pissed me off when we hired the Jeff Saturday guy as well, and I was like, what are we doing? That's when I could clearly tell we was tanking.
That's when y'all blew that. What was that? The 28-0 or 30? It was 30-something. That classic. I remember that shit.
Real quick,
bro. You know what I remember about that game? The only reason I was watching it still at halftime was because I had Justin Jefferson on my fantasy team. And sometimes you feel like if you watch, you could see. You know what I'm saying? So I was just watching this like, man, I just need something for you, brother, because he ain't do spit in the first half. So that was the only reason I was even still watching it. And that's one of the greatest comebacks I ever seen in any.
I'm not gonna lie, like when it comes to like certain teams, like I'm a trash talker. Like if I have like a friend or somebody who likes it, like I'm talking my trash. So we have 33 something to like 0. I'm talking all this trash.
Oh man,
holy comeback.
That's the worst.
I wanted to like shut my phone off and just be like done with it today. I was getting phone calls and everything, man. Like it was just annoying.
Dude,
so that was when you realized it. Like people start hitting your phone, and you was like, "What's going on?"
I was doing stuff on like Facebook as well. Like people like sharing my old Facebook stuff that I was like, "Oh, we're killing the Vikings," whatever. I was like, "Man."
I was gonna ask after watching that game. I've never, because I don't have any friends that are Colts fans. Like, what? I don't mean to bring it up, but what was that like?
I got one. I called him soon as that game was over. He's sick.
I think the first thing I did, I just like took a walk outside because like I was just so like I'm a serious sports fan. Like when we lose, especially football, like I take it to heart. So it's just one of those. Like,
same here with my life.
I had to go outside, walk wherever. I was getting the phone calls. I was like trying to listen to music at the same time. So
let me ask you something. Did you answer?
You said what?
When the game was over, did you answer your phone or you just looked at it?
Because I looked at my Twitter or whatever. Because I always have to like see the memes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But apart from that, like I have my phone on sleep mode. Like if you have the Apple, you don't get any notifications or nothing like that. Like man, like I was just done for the day. It was a Saturday as well, so it was like I want to say that was like around Christmas time. I want to say I might be wrong, but I can't.
I don't even remember, bro. I know it was fantasy time, whatever it was, because like I said, that's the only reason I was even watching, and I couldn't believe it. And then I called my boy, not to talk spit, but I just wanted his thoughts because he used to call me like damn near every week before the podcast because he's like, "No, I want you to hear a Colts fan perspective before you go on there." So I called him after that game, like, "Damn, bro, how are you feeling right now?" Like, and he was just he was lost for words. He couldn't believe that shit.
See, so are you a Rams fan or
Rams, Lakers? Bruins.
The only reason why I slightly like the Rams is because they drafted my homeboy Daryl Henderson. Because like he's from like my town. Like
yeah, that was my guy. I ain't gonna lie, he did piss me off that last season he was with.
I hate Cam Akers. Cam Akers that torn Achilles kind of like killed Cam Akers. Like he was so nice before that. But.
He was.
But the thing, Akers kind of turned up at the end of last season. I think he just came back from that injury too quick. So I'm hoping he carries that into.
And he's an elusive back. He's patient. He looks for holes to open up.
Yeah. I hope he does something next year.
And they still got Matt Stafford in the backfield, which they'll be fine at that position. I honestly see the Rams.
Man, I don't know. It depends, man.
I feel like you guys could potentially make playoffs this year, but you just have to make a couple of moves.
I think they're a top 5 bottom team, surprisingly. Like when the season's done, like I think they'll be one of the bottom worst teams.
The Rams?
I think Stafford's done.
Oh, he's so disrespectful.
He was contemplating retirement, injury issues. Y'all backup quarterback is a 26-year-old rookie. Like I just don't see any hope with this organization.
How you feel about your quarterback, nigga? Why you talking about mine?
No, I don't know if you saw my post. I was so disappointed, bro. Like I was so like Lewis, and I didn't even want Lewis as well. When I Anthony Richardson, bro, I was like the worst possible option. Like I was like hurt, but once like he drafted him, like of course, like I just
that's crazy. You and my boys like night and day with that because he was happy about it.
No, I wasn't. Maybe it's because like I'm more of like a college football head. Like watching him in college, he just wasn't that surprising to me. Like to me, he was like a 5th round, 6th round pick. Like I don't know why he got hyped to be like a top 1st round pick, but
I think it's because like I think Isaiah said it best. He said it's because he's gonna be like really effing great, or he's gonna be like dog spit trash. It's like he's probably not gonna get a middle.
Yeah, but like it is also like the NFL is changing quarterback wise, like where like you may have to have like a running type quarterback or like. At least
but y'all in win now, bro. Y'all desperate for a QB because you know that window only stays open for so long, and it's like y'all done tried to put band-aids at that position the last few years, and it ain't been working out.
We put Phillip Rivers there. He retired. Carson Wentz. It's Carson Wentz. I don't think I really have to explain that much more. And then Matt Ryan just kind of like just burned out. And I don't even think it's his fault. I just think, it's just his time period where he kind of just...
Well, and I think, too, like, the biggest thing I feel like, I don't mean to bring you, like, I just feel like with the Matt Ryan situation, ever since that Super Bowl, I don't feel like he's ever really been the same.
Yeah. I was never...
Can we agree to that?
Yeah,
Matt
like,
Ryan was never good.
Career-wise, like, I've just never been a Matt Ryan guy. Never been a...
And then... As well as far as Carson Wentz, I used to actually like Carson Wentz. I used to be a huge Carson Wentz fan when he came in. I feel like same like with him. I feel like after he tore his ACL, he was never the same as well.
I agree with that too.
He was good.
He was balling for Philly. He was
on his way to getting MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And what sucks is like he's not even just a bad quarterback like the media tries to portray him as. He's just an okay quarterback who is just still young. So
That's
like
fair.
Years to improve and stuff.
I think that Jags game was the biggest dent on him when y'all needed that to get in the playoffs for a team that needed to lose. I think that's what did it.
That's such a bad core memory I have in my head because I watched that game too, and I'm like, what are we doing,
bro? I had my own memory that day. I was at the Rams-Niners game that day when Niners needed that to make playoffs right before we went on the Super Bowl run. I was at that game. When they were saying it was a Niners home game, I was there and I was looking up at the score and I thought I was tripping. I was like, wait, what? I said, does that say what I think it does? Like Jags need to lose today, don't they? I was so confused.
We haven't beaten the Jaguars on the road since like 2012, which is like weird because it's
damn.
Yeah, like it's the Jaguars.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. But that's division though. Division matchups they say is always like
hard.
The hardest. Yeah.
I mean, but we play the easiest division, so it's like to me, it's like no excuse for that. You know what I mean? I've always been like the worst division in football for a while now. So, like over.
I'm glad to see.
Hey, Dre, real quick, bro. Real quick. I want you to walk us through 2017 Super Bowl. Since they brought it up, I want you to walk us through your roller coaster of emotions that game.
Honestly, it was more for me. It was, you got to understand, at that time, the Patriots were known to win. So for
When
me,
it is, so it didn't sting as much, huh? Like when y'all was down.
well, actually, no, not as much as it did when we lost the Giants. That one stung, but this one was more of a like. I felt like we were a little ahead of ourselves, and on top of that, Bill Belichick freaking benched Malcolm Butler. Not saying he was the greatest corner, but we could have certainly used him. And for us to get,
what you mean? Y'all should get that nigga a statue for that Seahawks
interception. The only thing I gotta say for that, the only thing that really hurt me was I would have been fine if we had lost to the starting quarterback, but to understand that was Nick Foles, a guy whose career was almost over.
Oh no, nigga, I'm talking about Falcons. Yeah.
Oh, the Falcons. Hold on. That was a different story. That was
yeah.
First half, I was looking at my friend. I was at my friend's house and we were watching that, and I looked at him. I was like, "Dang, 28-0." He was like, "Bro, this is over." And I was like, "The way we playing, it looks like it is." When we forced that the fumble and got back in distance and scored, oh my God, dude, the feeling is undescribable. When we won, took it to OT and won, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I remember I was watching that game. I think I had red on that game too. I had 100 on Atlanta.
I hated the Patriots.
What did? Hey! Let me.
Was that the game? Was that the game that y'all said Brady the GOAT?
No. I think Brady. I think I called Brady the GOAT maybe like around that Malcolm Butler pick. Somewhere around there is when I think I called Brady the GOAT. I think Joe Montana is kind of overrated, honestly, but that's an entirely different discussion.
Hell yeah, we can do a whole episode on that right there.
And back to your point, you said like I think seeing Matt Ryan after that Super Bowl, to me, for the seasons after, I was like, you can just tell it takes a toll. It still takes a toll on him.
Like it demoralized him in a way, like his spirit.
But is it just me, or did anyone try to figure out why they stopped running the ball? Because Devontae Freeman was eating us up.
I sit up for the life of me. That's why niggas say that was rigged. Y'all niggas put a call in.
Once it was like 28-6, I think it was like third quarter-ish. I would have just ran
6-11 left.
It was 28-3 at one point.
28-3, yeah, which is I don't know why they just didn't run the ball, but
how do you lose a Super Bowl being up 28-3 at one point? I don't care if it starts the game like that. That's crazy.
I always feel like usually like when a comeback happens, like the other team just gets too comfortable. Like they start making silly mistakes. I feel like that's probably what
you get comfortable on Brady and Belichick, all people.
And I got that Super Bowl DVD right after they won it, and it's funny because they're mic'd up and it shows Taylor Gabriel talking to Julio Jones, and Julio's calm, collected, but Taylor Gabriel's like, "Hey, it's okay." No, it's Gabriel and Sanu. Sanu goes, "It's okay, bro. We gonna come out half and we gonna drop 40 on the ass." And he was like, "Well, I don't know." He goes, "I don't know. It is Tom Brady and the Patriots." He's like, "Don't worry about it. We good." And they were all watching. Go look it up on YouTube.
That's crazy.
Patriots fans are lucky, man, to have Tom Brady.
6 rings. And one of them came against the Rams. That's even better. Oh, damn! I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all right. We got Brady back in 21. We ain't tripping.
It's all right. But we got you in the Super Bowl
and punched him in his mouth on the way out. Made that man retire.
We got you in the Super Bowl.
He was like, "Ooh, I don't know."
17 years ago to the day. 17 years ago to the day.
Hey, that's crazy. We're gonna see Brady. We're never gonna see Brady again. That's crazy. But it was definitely
only one left is AR.
Think so?
Brady ain't coming back. Unless he's coming back to play QB for the Raiders.
It's like the Raiders get to the Super Bowl. I'm starting today. Sit down. I need 8.
All right, quick question. We only got a couple left. Who do y'all feel out of all the NFL teams right now? And you can't say yours. Who do y'all feel is the furthest from winning a Super Bowl right now?
Furthest?
The furthest.
Chargers.
What?
I say the Chargers.
I mean, no, I'm sorry, not the Chargers. My bad.
Oh, I was about to say.
No, my bad. That was
my boy Herbert effed up.
No,
I like Herbert too.
So like the team like the least chance of making it, or
yeah, exactly.
It's probably the Buccaneers.
Really?
any future progression in that franchise.
Because they have like what, Blaine Gabbert?
They could just go get a quarter. They could go get a. I mean, I'm not saying it like it's easy, but if they get a quarterback to fill in right now, they're back as a contender.
Their defense is aging though. Like it's kind of concerning. Like they haven't really done anything since the Brady retirement. Like there's nothing I've seen in that franchise that just makes me shocked. They should have drafted a quarterback in general. Like you have Kyle Trask as QB, who I also think is just horrible. Like I don't know. Maybe I just hate Florida quarterbacks, but like
That's what it sounds like. Cause I'm like, damn, you picked them.
Like, yeah, I just
What
don't
about the,
think there's have any future going on for them.
what about the Saints? I think because I still feel like they still got quarterback issues.
They in that same boat, honestly. And it don't even look like Alvin Kamara made
Yeah,
lawsuit case he's dealing with right now. And you know, Michael Thomas, we don't even know what's happening with him.
What about the Texans?
That's what I was gonna say.
But I feel like the Texans have
my bad, bro. I took your team.
I feel like the Texans have like more potential. I like Stroud a lot. I think Stroud's the best quarterback in his draft class. Potential wise, I can't put him last. That's why I have like the Bucks. I think Stroud will be really good, and like I feel like they'll definitely put pieces around him, which they're already kind of doing. They have a decent offensive line. They're trying to build a wide receiver core, so I feel like they'll definitely be a decent team in a couple of years, maybe.
Are y'all sold on Fields?
He's a dark horse for me. Like I love Fields, but I feel like he has the platform now. Like the offensive line's gotten a little bit better. They finally got him a number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. I feel like this is his year where like we kind of like see is Fields really that guy or not. And I think he has potential to be that guy. And I
hope he does.
Yeah, like I feel like the best he could this season, like if he does, I feel like he can be like a top 10-ish QB. Like that's how high like I have him. Like when it comes to like how I feel like he's gonna do at the end of the season. Like that's where I want him to be at, a top 10 QB. And if he doesn't, then I'm gonna be really extremely disappointed and like kind of confused. That's a lot.
I'm definitely.
It seems like they finally trying to put something around him, so they got him a number one finally.
But it's Chicago, so we'll see how it goes.
What you thinking, KO?
Yeah, I'm a Fields believer, definitely, especially, since Aaron Rodgers left that division, I don't think we have to worry about the Packers too much unless, Jordan Love makes some huge jump, which I doubt. Because it'll be his first year, like, completely starting and having the keys. I mean, you got Detroit, but I feel like, they still got some problems here and there. It's just like the division is wide open for Justin Fields to, like, really, like, take over. So that's why I'm a big believer, and I hope so. It'll work out for him.
And didn't they just lose Lions? Didn't they just lose DeAndre Swift from their backfield?
They lost Williams because of that gambling situation. Yeah, the Lions, they've kind of just been like.
Damn, so they don't got a running back now?
apparently they've been.
They drafted what's his name, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, they sure did.
Which I think it's a stretch drafting any running back like top 15 nowadays.
It was a good pick fit wise. It was just like you could have took him like in day 2 of the draft.
I would have traded back later in the first.
My bad. I know I got so many questions for y'all, but this is my first time having y'all on here, so I got another. How y'all feel about how running backs are treated in the league today, as far as like when it's time to get paid? What's y'all thoughts on that?
It kind of reminds me that the NFL is like a business. It's just not it's like a family friendly type thing. Because like once a team kind of like starts seeing like running backs kind of like progressing downwards, nobody's going to want them anymore. Like take Dalvin Cook for example. He ran like 1,000 and 1,200 yards last year, but it was like a really extremely like apparently like down like a decline. He was always injured.
It's like they take the best of the backs like they first few years. It seemed like
it's like it just depends because like most backs are not going to be healthy as well. Like if you're a top back, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, those guys were like just never really healthy. And like when you're talking about paying running backs who probably like get hit the most on the field, it kind of is like a risk almost as well because it's like you're giving a guy a lot of money who is basically prone to injuries like at any point, any hit, any contact. I mean, so it just feels like I don't think running backs are worth that much anymore. And it's kind of the sad truth, but like the most least valuable position now in football, for being honest.
I ain't gonna say it's the least valuable, but it's probably one of the easiest to fill.
Yeah,
because like every draft, you can find starting running backs. And
Yeah.
you can't
And
say
even-
that for every position.
And even backups can run for like 1,000 yards. Now, I remember like a couple years ago, Alex Collins, he came like out of Arkansas. He's not even in the league anymore. He ran for like he had like 200-yard games for the Seahawks. Nobody's ever heard of him.
I think Pollard and Zeke both damn near ran for 1,000 last year.
I just feel like it's just not hard to find a capable running back these days, and that's why the market, the pay market for them is not that big.
Yeah.
Like Dalvin Cook's gonna have to like take a massive decline in like what he wants for it to be, for him to even be on the roster.
Right.
Nobody's stretching for him.
What you think, Kay?
I think to me, I don't like the treatment of how the treatment of the running backs, but I can understand it because of how the market has been. And like, I feel like genuinely like Le'Veon Bell kind of messed up the market when he took his contract with the Jets. And then like, you see how that turned out. And I just think owners
That line was caca.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but like I just feel like owners kind of were like hesitant with it. And I just feel like if you were to look at
how much do you think Zeke might have contributed to that as well?
He probably did too. Zeke, like just like around that era. But I feel like with how owners look at it, they look at QB, wide receiver, O-line, and then like the value of the positions. So like if you go down the line, QB, like I said, QB, wide receiver, O-line, D lineman, cornerbacks, like what's the value compared to like the running back?
And not only that, but like for example, Todd Gurley is like a perfect example of it because he was a star. Like when he started for the Rams, like
he was the best back in the league at one point.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden injuries happen, and then the pay his role in the offense started going down to like eventually they just cut him. And I don't even know if he got like another shot after that. No, he did play for like.
He went to Atlanta. And the funny thing is, even with the arthritis, he didn't do bad in Atlanta.
Yeah, honestly,
look at his numbers that season.
Dealing with arthritis is probably like the worst thing, like as an athlete that you can deal with because that basically takes away any leverage you have.
Yeah, and after that season, like it's crazy. Like him only being like 30% of himself was still better than like a lot of the backs in the league. Like,
that's why Todd Gurley is like one of my like biggest like what if like health wise when it comes to football.
And that year too that you guys went before the Super Bowl, he was having a good year that year, and then come Super Bowl, he was on the bite. The rest of the league.
He was playing great that year. And I was wondering why we kept running. What was his name? Henderson or whatever dude name was.
It's probably Henderson.
Stocky dude.
I think it was Henderson.
Yeah, I was wondering why we kept running him in the playoffs. I'm like, what the hell is McVay doing?
And I thought that too. That's when I first really knew how serious Gurley's injury was.
Yeah. And everybody was saying that like the Rams must be like hiding an injury or something, which clearly, as we see now, they were.
It sucks, man. It's just how it is. Football is just
It's a tough sport. It is a tough sport.
Not only do you have to be good, but you have to be healthy. If you're not healthy, you're not getting.
And the lifespan is like much shorter than most sports. Like, what's the average? Like, what, 2-3 years or something like that? It's like something like it's something small.
Like consider there's like 7 rounds. Like I think there's like 250 something players. I think like by like year 3, like and most of that I think class is like out the window. You know what I mean? Like that's when you have.
Yeah. It's just so like the NFL had to find a position that they feel like they value less than others, and they picked the running back position.
And now they pay heavy now, like. Oof.
But y'all don't think the run game is like extremely important? Like that's what sets you up to get all those. I feel
like that's what sets up your play action. I think.
Yeah, like if you're not a threat, why would they stack the box on you? They just
the thing that makes the running game like a threat is mainly because of the offensive line. If you have an offensive line,
that's a great point.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's how most like y'all might kill me for this. I feel like most great Cowboy running backs is because of that. Because they always had a great line.
There's a reason why they're called the Great Wall. There's a reason why they were called the Wall.
Like, do y'all remember like Marlon Mack? Like he was like so good with the Colts. Now we had like the best offensive line.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like 6 straight games, and then he goes to the Jaguars. Whatever. Never heard from again. Like I haven't heard from him at all.
Same thing with what's his name? DeMarco Murray.
I love him. I hate the Cowboys, but I love DeMarco Murray.
He another one that was balling over there, and then Never
But
really heard it again.
that also goes to show like scheme fits too. You know, some people fit better in one offense than they do in another, and sometimes it gets them. They can't find their groove when they leave a certain system. So I feel like that has to play a big part too.
Like, trust me, like if Alvin Kamara was like a receiving back as well, he would not be. He probably would be like one of the worst starting backs in the league in my opinion.
Ooh, preach! I thought I was the only. You better preach, Jay Will. Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one, bro. That nigga is so overrated when it comes to running. Oh my goodness!
I wouldn't want him on my team or nothing. Like
that is literally the reason why he's looked at the way he is and so valuable because of that. That season I'm talking about with when Gurley, for most of that season until like the last 2-3 games and Gurley being hurt and stuff, Gurley was he was like neck and neck with Kamara in rushing yards. And this is when he don't have a knee anymore.
Yeah. And the thing with Kamara is too, he played with Drew Brees, like Drew Brees like loves, like when his arm like started to go out, like you can like notice it. Kamara was his number one target because of that. Him and Michael Thomas. And like that's how Alvin made like a killing off of receiving yards and stuff because Drew Brees couldn't throw it. So who's he gonna throw it to? Just there's your running back right there. And he got like 6 or 7 catches a game, just like that's crazy for a running back perspective.
Right.
Like,
so our last one, man. Have y'all been following the Diggs and Bills situation?
Yeah, I saw Josh Allen's most recent tweet interview about the whole mini camp situation. Like, we'll handle it.
Yeah, but
apparently, I mean, I kind of like even at that classic Chiefs game that everybody talks about. Diggs wasn't really that involved in that game. If y'all go back and look, like, I mean, he's the threat there, so he does play decoy, but like
he's like a
I think that's one of the reasons
crazy numbers that game.
Well, because like I feel like his voice wasn't like heard in Minnesota. Excuse me, and that's kind of like why he went to Buffalo because he thought he would have a bigger role. And it's kind of disappointing because like Diggs is like one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league. So I feel like he definitely should have more say so, like in offensive calls. Like
I feel like people really undermine what he's done for Josh Allen. Yeah. People forget the pre-Diggs narrative about Josh Allen and the now. I ain't gonna say now the pre this playoff Josh Allen. Like,
I wonder how he would look without Diggs, honestly, because Josh Allen like led the league in like fumbles and stuff, and like in turnovers in general. I think he led the league for quarterbacks. So
they were talking about potentially looking another direction before he got Diggs.
It'd be interesting because I remember Josh Allen's first year, people were like clowning him or whatever. And then
that's what I'm saying. But people forgot about that because he had that season. I think the 2 seasons with Diggs, and then he had that Chiefs game, which I feel made everybody just be like, "Nigga, the only thing stopping you is Mahomes." Like, and then last year happened.
He's probably like 3 or 4 on my QB list, honestly. I don't know how I feel about Josh Allen yet.
I think he's a good quarterback. I just think what do you guys think he needs to get that extra elevation? Because
nigga, how much help do a nigga need?
Yeah, I was about to say like he really has to or something like that. Like he should be playing like the best quarterback with that. And, if he wasn't playing like he was, like I kind of be concerned. You know what I mean? That's why like the turnover rate is just like so like alarming to me because like he probably turns the ball over like 2-3 times a game. That's a lot. That's 3 drives. That's 21 points.
But that means he's taking a lot of risks too, though. So
yeah, like he's an aggressive. Like I remember week 1, I forgot who he's playing. Maybe the Chiefs. Like every time this man run, like he's running so aggressively, like he's an actual running back, and like they're wondering.
But it's crazy how he don't got the run quarterback narrative. But you know what I'm saying? He be taking he literally be trying to like run niggas over.
He doesn't even.
They tried to not pay Lamar because he's a threat, might get hurt. He runs too like. Josh Allen is worse. I see Josh Allen literally track niggas, bro. He on his Cam Newton split.
I think it's more so because Josh Allen does like have like one of like the strongest arms in the league compared to Lamar. Lamar doesn't have a bad arm. I don't like that narrative. Like people say Lamar can't pass. It's like the worst narrative in my opinion. He's a decent passer.
Yeah.
I feel like Josh Allen is just like when it comes to like a deep threat potential. Like Josh Allen's arm is just like way much better. But saying that, I don't know. Like honestly, like I was so desperate for like winning a quarterback. Like I was willing to pay Lamar Jackson that much money for him to be our quarterback. Obviously that didn't happen, but somebody was going to pay him. If the Rams weren't going to pay him, somebody was going to.
I wanted him to go to I mean, yeah, y'all. I feel like y'all would have been a great fit, and I feel like the Niners, one of them teams who got win now at every position, pretty much except quarterback. And I feel like
and I was about to say the Jets,
Niners
but
was
the
like
Jets
the team.
While receiver wise, they ain't really got much. And that's like before Aaron Rodgers went there. So,
are you guys high on that by any chance, or not really? That whole Aaron Rodgers going to New York Jets, they're gonna change. He's gonna change.
I think it makes them a contender. Like I'll go as far as to say, I think they're.
I mean, A-Rod had his moments last year where I was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we never know. Maybe he wasn't as motivated. Who knows?
No, honestly, I'm not saying they're gonna. I think they're a contender because of him in general. I feel like he just gets them like over the edge a little bit. I'm like their defense is like so.
It's like I told y'all last time. It's like you couldn't get over the 49ers get that monkey off your back.
Yeah, but the thing
about why the hell would you go to the AFC and go deal with Mahomes and Burrow and that's gonna be any better?
But the Jets' potential is scary though. Like they got the offensive and rookie and the defensive rookie of the year. Plus they had like another running back who like got hurt like mid-year who could have won offensive rookie of the year as well. So like they kind of like if their potential holds out, like they're kind of a dangerous squad. Like we already seen like with Sauce Gardner, like he's just.
Yeah, I think that's gonna like. Yeah, he has a chance to be one of the best players in the league for sure. Like
he's already.
That's who I'm high on, if anything.
He was just a rookie. That's crazy.
Yeah,
he was getting bodied against Alabama 2 years ago in that playoff game. But that's a different topic.
All right, man. Well, that was a incredible one, man. That was the first off-season one in the books, man. We ran into all type of spit, man. We was able to display three of the most brilliant sports minds that I know. Appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. All the fans that's been checking us out and keeping us going. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's take this to the furthest extent. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. Make sure y'all, you know what I'm saying, doing y'all barbecues and all that good shit today, like how y'all be doing for the 4th and Memorial and all that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have the same energy around here, changing the narrative. KO, I forgot about you at the top, man. I know you got your blogs and shit too that you do and your pieces you write, man. You can go ahead and shout that out.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me on BBN Draft at BBN Draft. That's where I'll start posting my little vlogs and stuff and blogs, any of that writing stuff. So yeah,
got you.
What's your Instagram?
Yeah, make sure you text me that too, so I can. I'm gonna have.
I got you.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I'm just lone.ko. That's like I don't got no professional Instagram right now though. I'm just my little Instagram just for regular life.
You talking shit. Oh no, you don't post. That's what it is. I forgot.
Yeah, I don't be posting.
I went in. I was like, this nigga don't even post on here.
Nah.
Hey, real quick, JC, just because I didn't get to jump on when the finals ended, but Highsmith.
Oh yeah, I don't know if y'all caught it. I was kind of gassing Highsmith off of that Boston series, talking about how his defense would be. That boy Murray went nuts.
MVP.
Shoot, Highsmith should have played more in that series.
That's what I was saying, but you know, it is what it is, man. That season is in the books. I'm putting that behind me. I'm back on my Embiid train. Hopefully, you know
Fraud.
Philly got their work cut out for them this season, man. They got some work to do. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all, man. Hopefully we can have y'all back soon, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course.
Dre, welcome back.
Oh no.
And
thank you for making our special guests so comfortable, man, and they was able to get their spit off and
love their insights.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Go Lakers, go Rams, go Dodgers. Peace.
Boston.
Next time for sure.